And hello there, Chinook fans. Tonight we have Game 3 of your Chinook season. For some Alaska Baseball League action, you have your Chugiak Chinooks at the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. Tonight I'm joined by my wonderful partner, Ryan Beck. Ryan, first of all, how are you doing tonight? And second of all, tell us a little bit of what to expect from these pilots that you saw last year.
I'm doing fantastic tonight. Basically, what we're looking at from the pilots is, some of them are new guys, but a couple are from back end. Last year, they were a pretty solid team, pitching wise at least. They had a couple good bats, so we'll definitely be looking to see some good hitting this year.
And we all are, for the Chinooks fans, hoping to see some good hitting tonight, as we've only seen 5 hits so far after 2 games. The Anchorage Pilots come into this game with a 1-2 record, and your Chinooks come in after losing the first 2 of the season. The lineup tonight for your Chinooks, leading off again, is Micah Priest, the center fielder from Point Loma Nazarene University. Batting second is the Baylor right fielder Levi Gilcrease. Third is Alex Crotty. He's going to be in the squat tonight. Batting cleanup is the first baseman Hayden Mixon. In the fifth hole is Justin Gomez. He's going to be DH tonight from Azusa Pacific. Batting sixth is Preston White. He's left fielder. He will be attending the Masters University next year. In the seventh hole is the second baseman Brandon Mitchie. He will be attending Mercer University next year. Jordan Wharton, the third baseman, going to be in the 8th hole. And batting ninth to close things off is Alex Schmidt, the shortstop. On the mound tonight for the Anchorage Glacier Pilots is Tyler Wilburn, the 6'2 right-handed pitcher. The left-handed pitcher from Jacksonville State University. He's going to be a sophomore next year from Helena, Alabama. So, Ryan, like you said, this is a pitcher's league. Do you see any difference do you see a lot of lefty pitchers? I've seen so far a good amount of lefties from these two teams.
There are quite a few. I don't know if that was just the way that the recruiting went this year, but occasionally there are quite a few lefties. It's cool to watch them.
And it's time for Chinook baseball as Prees digs in to take the first pitch from Wilburn. Prees went 2 for 4 yesterday, had 2 of the 3 hits from the Chinooks against the Miners last night, a 4-1 loss. Here comes the first pitch from Wilburn, and that's going to be it from Prees. Right back to Wilburn. He's going to field that. Over to the first baseman, Carter Benz, and that's going to be a quick 1 out. And that's what we saw a lot, Ryan, in the first 2 games is our Chinooks made contact, but they just went right to the fielders of those Miners.
Exactly. They were hitting the ball hard. They just hit right at people. The shortstop and the second baseman definitely had their work cut out for him for the Matsu.
That's true. The Matsu middle infielders definitely had their work. That was Austin Bull and Brandon Chinea. Levi Gilcrease, and he lays down a bunt on third base side. That's going to be foul. Haven't seen too many bunts being laid down for the Chinooks. Obviously, it's only been 2 games. But so far, that's the first bunt we've seen, called by John Groth, the manager. Now, Ryan, tell us, you know John since he's been here. Tell us a little about how is his managing style compared to other coaches you might have seen throughout the years here?
He is high energy all the way.
And that's going to be Gilcrease. Flies out to the right fielder, Chandler Anderson. That's 2 away now for the Chinooks as Alex Crotty, the catcher, comes to plate. But as you were saying,
yeah, Coach Groth definitely has a very high energy he brings to the team, and it's always fun to watch how he, sometimes he seems to have more energy than some of the players themselves. But he likes the bunt game a little bit more than most coaches would, and he tries to use it whenever he can.
I can contest to that, folks. During batting practice, the first time I've seen this in a batting practice, instead of just bombing away like you see in a normal batting practice, Groth, who was pitching at batting practice, had them bunt about half the at-bats. That was pretty interesting as Wilburn misses down low for ball 2. 2-0 count now against Crotty. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Wilburn making quick work of Priest and Gilcrease to start the top half of the first. Wilburn, the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss by Crotty. In the field tonight for the Glacier Pilots at catcher is Cuba Bess from GCU, a sophomore. At first base is Carter Benz, second. Malcolm Tipler. At third, the hot corner is Austin Chabin. At shortstop is Andre Gregory. And the outfield from left to center is Will Brennan, Cameron Thompson, and Chandler Anderson. And Wilburn throws that on the outside. Going to be a hitter's count. But so far, Ryan, these hitters counts, with these pitchers so far, we really, even in a hitter's count, just our Chinooks have not been able to take advantage of that.
Not yet. We're definitely going to have to look. Sometimes it's just waiting on the right pitch and maybe letting them get to the strike 2.
And that's not the right pitch that time as Crotty grounds out to the third baseman, Austin Chabin. That's going to do it for the top half of the first. No hits and no runs for your Chinooks. And we come back. Mike Batten, the left-hander thrower from Southern Wesley University, will take the hill from your Chinooks when we come back. And as we come back in the bottom half of the first, Mike Batten, the 6'5" right-hander from Southern Wesleyan University, on to pitch for his season debut for the Chinooks. Up to bat, Will Brennan, the left fielder from Kansas State University for the Glacier Pilots. The first pitch of Batten's ABL career just misses on the outside for ball 1. Ryan and I were talking during the break. Chinooks making good contact so far, and we even saw that in the top half of the first, but haven't been able to break through these Alaska League pitchers as Batten gets that one in for strike 1. 1-1 count now. In the bottom of the first, Batten looks in to Crotty, and he's going to hit Brennan, and that's going to put a base runner on for the Pilots. That's not the start Batten wanted. In the field for your Chinooks, in the squat tonight, Alex Crotty going to be catching for the right-hander, Mike Batten. At first is Hayden Mixon, second base, Brandon Mitchie. At the hot corner, Jordan Wharton moving over from short to third for tonight's game. Alex Mitch is going to repeat at shortstop for tonight. And in left field, we're going to have Preston White, center field, Micah Prees, and in right field, Levi Gilcrease. Out to bat now is Malcolm Tipler, the Austin Peay sophomore, a Jackson, Tennessee native. As Brennan takes his lead on first, Batten looks in to Crotty. Gets assigned the pitch on the outside for ball 1. Batten hoping to shake off that first pitch hit. Throws over to Mixon at first. Nothing happening. Just keeping Brennan honest over there. 1-0 count. No outs in the bottom half of the first. Brennan on first. Pitch to Tipler. Tipler fouls that off the third base line. That's going to make it 1-2 now. Batten peers in. Throws back over to Brennan. Nothing working again. But like I said, keeping him honest over there. Already allowed him on base by hit by pitch. Definitely does not want to have him get to second on a stolen base. Batten, 1-1 pitch. Looks into Crotty, the throw. And just misses up high for ball 2.
Definitely, again, with that whole keeping him honest on first base, what we're seeing.
And there goes Brennan. That's going to be shot to right field to Gilcrease. And Brennan's going to be waved on to third. Throw from Gilcrease is not in time as Brennan slides into third. And Tipler gets a single. And well, Ryan, that explains why Batten was trying to keep him honest over there at first.
Exactly, a little bit of a hit and run action there, and definitely executed well. As now there's a runner standing on third base, 90 feet away from scoring the go-ahead run.
And that leaves runners on the corners for Cameron Thompson, the Kansas State center fielder from Pasadena, Texas. He digs in, hoping to get some RBIs added to his name. Batten looks in, runners on the corners, no outs, bottom of the first. Gets a strike call for a quick 0-1 hole. On deck is the DH, Ian Evans from GCU. Hoping to come up here with a lead for his Pilots. Batten looks in, runners on the corners. Throws back over to Tipler. And Ryan, with the runners on first and third, would you see a possible steal from Tipler? Maybe to see if Brennan can then come home in third.
Yeah, I would definitely say a steal option would be good. You have no outs. Putting 2 runners in scoring position in the first inning isn't such a bad idea. And the worst that comes out of it is only 1 out. So.
And there's also the chances we've seen in the catchers as a 1-1 count now for Batten against Thompson. Is we've seen the Chinooks catchers throw some balls into center field trying to get the guy stealing. And that would definitely be what the Pilots would be hoping for. If not, Tipler was thinking about it at first, went about a third of the way before coming right back. And I really want to know here if that's a coach's call, if, kind of playing cat and mouse with them over there at first is Tipler. If that's a coach's call or if that's a personal decision, I'd be really interested to see what's going on in Tipler's mind. And that's going to be stroked to left, and who needs the steal as Brennan's going to come in. to give the Pilots an early 1-0 lead. As Tipler's going to move from first to second. And Batten in some trouble already, giving up 2 hits. Now an earned run to his name as Ian Evans, the DH, comes up to hit with no outs here and a chance to add some more runs to his Glacier Pilots. Grand Canyon University, what a school.
Just a little bit biased over there.
Just a tad. Batten looks in to the GCU right-hander. Misses just up high. I do got to show some pride for my fellow Lopes, though. But in this case, I hope they do bad. But don't get injured, though, as we need them for the upcoming season. They got months. Tipler leads off second. Thompson at first. Batten to Evans. Gets that curveball in for strike one. Makes it a 1-1 count. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the first. And this is not a good sign for the Chinooks with the way we've been talking even about their bats. It's going to be hard for them to dig out a hole unless they can keep it at a 1-run deficit because the Chinooks, sadly, we just have not been able to have our bats wake up.
Yeah, at this point, it's we definitely a little bit of cold water on the face here.
Batten misses up high again to make it a 2-1 count. And that's, I mean, Ryan, is there a sign? I mean, you've been here 18 years of your life. Has there been a team, whether it was the Chinooks or up in Fairbanks, that kind of got off to a cold start? Now, obviously, it's only been 2 games, but only 5 hits through those 2 games. Our errors are actually more than our hits so far.
I would definitely say in 2007, when we were still in Fairbanks, we started off pretty rocky, but then afterward, we went on a massive hot streak and ended up winning the league. But it took a lot of just kind of motivation. And my dad has told me about a pep talk from the head coach. And he said to this day, he won't tell me what actually happened in that pep talk, but, you know, it was enough to get him fired up.
Well, it obviously works, as I assume, as Evans fouls that off to make it a full count now. And we're hoping that the Chinooks, whether it's through motivational speeches, through Bible verses, whatever it is, that something can wake those bats up, as in this Alaska Baseball League, it's a short season here, only 2 months, that they definitely cannot afford to keep on losing these early games. Batten looks in, 3-2 count. Misses up high to load the bases. As Cuba Best, the catcher, also from GCU, comes up, and this is not the start Batten nor the Chugiak Chinooks wanted. Now, you know your dad, you know, better than most people. Through his coaching style, does he have a short leash for his pitchers here?
For the most part, it's mainly just a mental aspect and mental gauge. They can see whether or not who is mentally just rattled and needs to reload out there with a quick meeting. Batten misses high for ball 1 on the outside corner. And speaking of that, right now, head pitching coach Chris Beck is headed out to the mound now, and we'll be trying to settle down Batten just a little bit, make sure he's doing okay mentally, and try and get him refocused, see what's up, see if there's an injury issue possibly, or just if he's hungry. I've heard of stories about that before.
Oh, hey, a little protein bar, a little quick bite. He's ready to go.
Exactly.
Or a Lunchables to go would even work. As Batten, a 6'5" guy. I've seen him eat about 2 sandwiches in about a span of 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive.
Very. As base is loaded, and still a 1-0 count to Bess. As Bess strokes that for foul behind the plate. But like you were saying, Beck goes out there to calm him down, hoping to revitalize him.
Hopefully, just got to get in there and throw strikes.
That's all we're really hoping for right now. 1-1 count to Batten. Swing and a miss by Bess as Batten gets that 1-2 count now. And what you're looking for is a strikeout here and then a double play, ground ball, and the next at bat. That's the perfect scenario here for Batten to get out of this inning, only allowing one run to his name. 1-2 count, Batten to Bess, the pitch. And that's going to be stroked into left. White's going to come in, and he's going to dive. He's going to make the catch. And runners advance as Tipler comes in, but what a catch by White. And that was a risky play. And now Beck stands out, and he wants to see if Tipler is able to tag up. The ump is going to say the hit by Best was an out, as now the umps come for another part of the infield, asking what to do with there as here in Alaska. And there is some confusion. Ryan, kind of walk us through what's going on here.
Basically, what's happening is as the runners were advancing, the runner going from second to third, they're questioning if he tagged up, and it appears that the call is that he did not.
And right on cue, here comes the Glacier Pilots coach to give him his own piece of his mind.
So they're saying Cameron Thompson, number 23, was. They're saying that his tag was not close enough on the fly ball, so therefore, by the rules, if you're not tagging up as the ball is caught, it'll be ruled as an out if they go back to that base and touch it. It looks like the Pilots head coach came out, quickly talked with the umpires, try and get on the same page here. Looks like not much is going on there. Umpires are still conferring out in between the mound and home plate. They should probably have a ruling within a few minutes.
Well, I'd hope just
hopefully
one.
Just a few, maybe just one, but whatever it takes for them to make sure that they get to the right call would definitely be the best.
And the umps go back. He's going to call him safe. The runner at second is out. And now Chris Beck wants a word too. And John Groth is out there, the head coach for your Chinooks. And he's asking what's going on. So basically, folks, what happened is it was a hit to left to White. Came in. It was a dive. That out is good. Best is out. White was able to catch that. The question on hand that has now been officially answered. Tipler scores.
Correct. Is whether or not Thompson was out from not tagging at second or tagging the base at second. And the umpires have ruled that he did not tag efficiently and is considered out. And it looks like the Pilots head coach is still trying to have a conversation with the umpires. And it's at this point, usually, that you might want to start heading back to the dugout, as he starts doing now, trying to make sure that his team is fairly represented.
Here comes Austin Chauvin from St. Mary's, California College. So basically what that was it was a sack fly, but because of the errant base running, it was a double play. But no matter what, the Glacier Pilots now lead 2-0 here in the bottom half of the first. Batten looks in. Evans stands at second. The pitch to Chauvin. Gets a strike there on the inside. Batten looks in. 2 outs here. 2-0 is the score. 0-1 count. Peers in. Steps off. As Evans trots back to second. Batten, the 0-1 pitch, and that's fouled off by Chauvin to make it 0-2 hole now. And after a little bit of a rocky start for Batten, he seems to have settled down here. And with one more strike here, he can get out of this inning with only surrendering 2 runs. Batten, the 0-2 pitch, 2 outs, 2-0's the score. The pitch, and that's out to White and left. As Schmitz goes out there too, and Schmitz is going to call off White, and that's going to do it for the first inning. As the Pilots score 2 on 2 hits after some confusion here in the bottom half of the first. No matter what, the score is 2-0 here. When we come back in the top half of the second, Hayden Mixon is going to be leading things off for your Chinooks. And as we come back in the top of the second, Hayden Mixon digs in against Wilburn. And that's going to be a fly out. And a quick one out. And again, we see the Chinooks first pitch swinging. And there is nothing wrong with that, but there's another quick out for the Chinooks. And, really, that's kind of a double whammy. Not only is it an out, but Wilburn really hasn't been having to work that much because of the first pitch swinging.
Not at all. I mean, maybe a different strategy that the Chinook hitter should maybe approach it would be maybe just waiting a little bit for the count to get a little deeper, see what Wilburn has to offer pitch wise as ball one is taken on the outside. But I mean, we have to see basically what he has to offer, and first pitch swinging isn't going to help you.
As Justin Gomez, the catcher from Azusa Pacific University, digs in, a 1-1 count with one out. Next to the fly out by Hayden Mixon. Pitch from Wilburn. This is down low for ball 2. And like you were saying, Ryan, you really want to see what Wilburn has in his arsenal. As he could be hiding 4 pitches back there, and all of a sudden he just cranks one out, and the hitters have no idea what to do with it.
Exactly.
And Gomez strokes that to right. And there's the first hit of the game for your Chinooks. As a 1-out single, it's going to get base runners. Preston White, the left fielder. And hopefully the Chinook can build on this. As Brandon Mitchie, the second baseman, digs in on deck.
Definitely. This would be one of those times where we just need to execute fully here and not leave anyone stranded. Bring them all home, in a sense.
And already down a 2-0 hole here as the Pilots scored 2 in the bottom half of the first. As White first pitch swinging. And that's going to be caught by the right fielder. As Gomez trots back to first. And another first pitch swinging by your Chinooks. And like we were saying, it's almost like deja vu, but like we were saying in the top half of the first, the hits are good. The contact is good. I mean, if that was a foot or two higher, that might have been over the right fielder's head, but it's just not been able to hit where there's no glove in sight. As Mitchie stands in against the left-hand Wilburn. As he's first pitch swinging again. And that's going to be a throw to first. And a very quick inning for Wilburn. As we're going to take another break. And when we come back, it's going to be the bottom half of the second as a quick inning for the Chinooks. 1 hit by Justin Gomez, but other than that, no offense has been cooking. We come back, bottom half of the second. Pilots hold a 2-0 lead. And we're back in the bottom of the second. Leading off for the Glacier Pilots is the first baseman, Carter Benz from Fresno State, a native of Fairfield, California. In the bottom half of the first, the Pilots scored 2 runs on 2 hits. Batten got off to a rough start, hitting the first batter he faced. And Batten looks to change his approach, and he puts that one in for ball 1. Batting the 0-1 pitch on the outside for ball one to Karate in the squat. It's interesting to think of, these pitching catchers repertoire. Obviously, that relationship's so critical for a succeeding outing. And so, Ryan, have you seen in the past, or even so far in the short-lived season of the Chinooks, how that chemistry between the pitcher and catcher is gone?
I think it's developing. It's definitely something that uh, it needs to always grow at a certain point, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that chemistry coming down the road in the future.
And I'm interested to see because as it's now a 2-2 count here for Batten, the Chinooks have rolled out three catchers so far, playing catcher in a DH spot. How John Groth goes to approach that as Batten misses up high for ball three.
It might just be a rotation thing, I guess, for Coach Growth. It could possibly be just who's better, or it could also just be the rotation, which I would think it would be.
As there's out a hit out to Gilcrease and right. Gilcrease camps under that out for out number one. I'd assume, early in the season, it's the same way with the pitching staff. You kind of, John Groth and pitching coach Chris Beck don't really know these guys except for the film or stats they've seen on paper. Maybe in the case of the catchers, when you have three solid options, waiting to see a week or two, or even 2 or 3 weeks to see who kind of
Mhm.
takes control of the reins. Because I'd assume by July and obviously in the playoff race, you'd kind of want a solid grip on each position. As Batten
Absolutely.
misses
They're
up second.
gonna see who's gonna best recovery time and such. Like I remember today, that was what pitching coach Chris Beck was asking a couple of the pitchers, just how long does it take for you to recover if you throw about this many pitches, and he's trying to get a feel for how deep the rotation needs to be, how much rest to give guys, and it would be the same way for the catchers, I would assume.
Chris Beck, the pitching coach, beforehand, just going through his pitchers, is Batten misses upstairs again for 3-0. That was very. I was out there in the bullpen before the game. Chris Beck kind of getting to know his pitchers, seeing as tomorrow's starter is going to be Tyler Weekly. He was just a reliever 2 games ago, and so for Chris Beck and your dad, it's going to be he has a tough job and a tough task ahead of him. But so far, he's handling it great,
Mhm.
and hoping that his pitchers can kind of settle into the roles. Is it difficult for Beck out there as a pitching coach to really figure out the role? I mean, some of these guys are starters, and maybe they're not used to being a reliever. As Batten misses for ball four, and he's going to walk Chandler Anderson. I mean, how does that go in terms of dealing with? Obviously, egos are not a problem, but maybe dealing with a pitcher that is used to being a starter now has to go in a relief role.
I mean, it depends just how the pitcher mentally will handle it. You can gauge a lot about how mentally tough a person is when they switch roles like that. But for a starter going into a relief role, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a little bit different because they're not coming in and they're not expected to throw so much. But in the end, it's not going to be too difficult of a transition. Their job's still to come in and pitch the ball and get guys out and eat up innings, just like a starter would be. It's just coming in at a different time or a high stress situation.
Definitely, baseball is baseball. As I mentioned, Tyler Weekly, the starting pitcher for tomorrow, a relief. He was the reliever for 3 innings in the opener. I talked to him beforehand, kind of how he goes about that. And he said one of the main difficulties about that, about not knowing a set role, is kind of getting a routine. And it's hard to get a routine as Batten throws over to Anderson at first. Andre Gregory, the shortstop, up to bat now in a 1-1 count with one out in the bottom of the second. But Weekly, what he was saying was the one thing that's difficult about not really settling into a complete role like maybe a shortstop or a second baseman would have is the routine and kind of mentally being able to prepare yourself as if you're a reliever, as Anderson going to steal second as Crotty could not get that throw there to Schmitz at the second base, and Anderson has a stolen base. But let's say if you're a reliever, if you have a set role, you figure you have a chance to come in each game. But a starter, you know exactly when you're going to be a starter. So it
Right,
is
right.
interesting to see how it goes about that and how the season prolongs um, when the roles kind of get defined and set and crisp and
Hmm.
set in stone. As Batten puts that down for strike number two. Gregory at the plate, shortstop. The right fielder Chandler Anderson after that stolen base. Stands at second with one out here, 2-2 count now. 2-0's the score for the Glacier Pilots. And we're going to have a balk by Mike Batten. A rare occurrence here in the Alaska Baseball League, and Chris Beck's wondering what happened. And so is Mike Batten, the umpire, clarifying what was going on. Ryan, did you see anything that I definitely didn't? I missed that.
I did not see that at all. I would not agree with
it must have been
the
his
call
back
there.
foot maybe lifted but now no matter what, Anderson's on third, and that's going to be hit to Mitchie, and Anderson crosses the plate. So because of a balk call by the umpire, Anderson came from second to third, and he comes in to score on that sacrifice ground out by Andre Gregory. And there's still some confusion, I would assume, out there by Beck and Batten, the pitcher. But no matter what, the 3-0 is the score now for the Pilots, and that's just bad luck there for Batten, as he's so far after that first batter he faced hitting him on the inside. He's been so far able to keep his composure, and now we are back to the top of the order for Will Brennan, the left fielder. 0-2 hole now for Brennan, as Batten hopes to get out of this with only surrendering 1 run. 2 outs, bottom of the second, 0-2 count. The pitch taken outside for ball 1. That was an interesting balk call. I would have to assume, Ryan, that it was the back foot. Maybe he lifted it, maybe he flinched. Whatever it was, I can't tell from here what it was, and definitely didn't see that. His bat misses, gets it on the inside, and Brennan definitely didn't agree with that one, as he had to get out of the way. But the ump controls everything on this field, and Batten gets that strikeout to end the inning. On 0 hits, the Pilots still able to score 1 run on a balk call by Batten that allowed Anderson to move from second to third. When we come back, it's going to be the top half of the third. The Chinooks down 3-0 through 2. And we're back, Chinook fans, in the top of the third. Jordan Wharton, playing the hot quarter tonight, digs in from Indiana Wesleyan University. And that's going to be a drive and a right. And that's going to be dropped as Wharton's going to dig around first. And he's going to stand up double. As finally the Chinooks can get a leadoff batter on for extra bases. And that's the start to an inning Chinooks have been craving this whole time through this season.
Finally, a first pitch swing at bat gone right.
Gone right is definitely the right thing to say in that situation, as Wharton smoked that opposite field too. And Alex Schmidt from Oral Roberts playing shortstop tonight, hoping to take advantage of that Wharton double to put the Chinooks on the board. Wilburn looks in to Schmitz. Wharton takes his lead at second, misses on the outside for ball 1. This has to be a critical next few at bats for the Chinooks, is if they cannot bring in Wharton. But the way the bats have been going, the hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper to dig out of.
Absolutely. This is a crucial situation.
Schmitz fouls that back. And that's astonishing to say, as it's only the top of the third. But with what we've seen so far with Wilburn pitching and how the Chinooks have been taking at bats, a 3-0 hole is it wouldn't be out of the question to say it's almost a really hard hole to climb out of for the Chinooks. But the Chinooks hoping to add some damage, and top half of the first, as Schmitz is going to foul that one off. Good idea. Just missed the bunt. That's going to take to a 1-2 count. Schmitz played that almost perfectly, as that was a great bunt down the first base line, exactly where you want to go to get the runner from second to third. Just a little too much power on that to push it foul. Heads up play by Wilburn, not being able to touch that, allows it to go foul, and now goes for the strikeout to keep Wharton at second. 1-2 count now. No outs, top of the third. Jordan Wharton on second, thanks to a leadoff double. 1-2 pitch to Schmitz. Wilburn, leg kick, the pitch. And Schmitz is going to dig that in the right. And here comes Wharton, and Wharton's going to be held up by Groff. And good call, as the right fielder, Chandler Anderson, was up ready to throw. Runners on the corners now for the leadoff hitter, Mike Capriz. And Ryan, things are starting to look on the up for your Chinooks.
Definitely a little bit now. The bats are starting to come to life, and now a couple of the hitters are getting used to sitting back in that count just a little bit. Maybe that's what Coach John Groth is on the third base side is probably giving him the signal for. Mike Caprice is now in a very crucial situation with a runner on third and on first with the chance to move over. And looks like the Pilots are going to try and put on a little bit of a defensive shift here, maybe to develop a double play option.
And if you're the Pilots, speaking of that double play option, do you allow that one run to get the double play, or it's early in the game, but you do have a 3-0 lead? What's your thinking there?
Probably go for the double play in this instance, but that could change if there's the opportunity to try and prevent that run from scoring.
There's a first pitch strike and a Capriz. But like we see a lot of times in baseball, especially with a more than 3-run lead, a 3 or more run lead, you see the team on the defensive side just taking the 2 outs, allowing that run to score. And that's probably what the Pilots would do here, as Preez fouls that one off to make it an 0-2 hole. And the worst thing for the Chinooks would be a strikeout here. Well, I guess the worst thing would be a triple play, but that's very that would be hard to fathom here with runners on the corners and nobody out. Wilburn looks in to Best, catching. 0-2 count. Nobody out. Wharton at first. Schmitz at first. Preez at the plate, the pitch. And that's going to be dribbled to the third base. And that's going to be out number 1 for your Chinooks, as Chauvin was able to get under that. And if that was just a little bit more power and a little bit to the right, maybe that would have been a little dinker out, but no less. That's 1 out now for the Chinooks, as Levi Gilcrease comes in from Baylor University. He just finished up his super regional about a week ago in Houston. Gilcrease, runners on the corners. Double play is trying to avoid that in a situation. We have to get that run home from third. Wilburn, the pitch to Gilcrease. Takes on the outside for ball number 1. Now, have you seen Groff, the Chinooks head coach? Is he more aggressive? Would you expect him to be aggressive in the situation, even though it's early in the game?
Absolutely. He's aggressive nonstop. He will definitely try and take every advantage he can get.
As Gilcrease strokes that down to third. And what a play by Chauvin to keep it in. But no less. Gilcrease is on for an RBI single. We'll wait to see what the scorekeeper calls that, if that's an error on Chauvin. As the Chinooks put on the board to make it 3-1. And even it might not show on the score sheet, but that was a good play by Chauvin to keep that ball in front of him.
Absolutely. Could have been a lot more trouble for the
Pilots. Could have
Pilots.
been worse, as Schmitz has some good legs on him. He might have been able to come all the way home, as that ball was headed right to the corner, right to the foul pole. But no matter what, the Chinooks now on the board, 3-1. And this is the Chinook bats we were hoping to see, as we were talking about in the first and second. We were waiting to wake up. Hopefully, this is the wake-up call, as Crotty, the catcher, digs in from Mercer University. First pitch from Wilburn, and Crotty takes that one high for ball 1. 1 out on the bottom of the top half of the third. 3-1 lead for the Pilots after that hit by Gilcrease, and that is going to be charged as a hit for Gilcrease. No error on that stop by Chauvin. Schmitz takes the lead at second. Crotty fouls that off on the right field side of things. On deck is Hayden Mixon, the first baseman from LSU Eunice. And this is the part of the lineup that you really hope your damage can really be. The leadoff hitters did their job. And the bottom half of the lineup did their job too to get leadoff hitters some RBI opportunities. As Crotty is going to foul that again behind the stadium on the right side. 1-2 count now. As Crotty is hoping to put this ball in play. Hopefully in the outfield and down to get Schmitz home from second to make this a 3-2 game. Wilburn takes a sign from Bess. Into a stretch, the pitch. And that's going to be off the catcher's glove. And
that ball went over the grandstand. Wow,
is that what happened?
That's a first, but both base runners are going to be awarded their next base, which is second and third, putting 2 Chinooks in scoring position and eliminating a force out.
And that's what you want. You know, that's difficult with how deep this backstop is. I mean, that's a good, what would you say, 10, 15 yards deep. The catcher had no idea where that was. If you're the Chinooks, you're saying, dang it. Maybe there's a chance Schmitz could score from second to third. No matter what, they'll take the base runners advancing, as that ball literally was plopped off Bess's catcher's glove, and that tipped about a good 10 yards up in the air and 10 yards back too. And we even felt the vibration of that as that rocketed up here in the press box.
Definitely.
Count for Wilburn, as Crotty's going to hit that again to Chauvin. And here comes Schmitz home, and that's a pass ball. And here comes Gilcrease. Gilcrease is going to come from third. Growth waves him in. Gilcrease with a slide. Tie game for your Chinooks. 3-3 game. That's
now
Crotty
the fish are running.
Second.
That is awesome. In many ways, that was not what I expected in the least, but a pass ball will definitely score it. And Coach John Groth, his aggressive tactics, he waved them all around.
The aggressive continues. As you saw Chauvin. Chauvin, I would say, probably did what his coach wanted, throw to home. You can't really expect the pass ball. But like I was saying also, with this backstop so deep, Gilcrease able to score from second all the way home. And we have a brand new ball game. And the Chinooks still have a chance to add some runs here, as it's a tie game with Crotty now at second. And up to bat is Hayden Mixon, the first baseman. Wilburn, the pitch, and Mixon. And the ump's going to call that out. That was a good little turn of events here for the Chinooks.
That was definitely fun to watch.
And all in my mind, I was saying, please don't throw home. And the first thing Chauvin does is throw home. And I was just, in my mind was just, dang it, Smith's going to get called out. Ugh. But no matter what, as Mixon fouls that off, the Chinooks find a way to put 3 on the board here in the top of the third to make it a tie game now. Any way possible in the Alaska Baseball League, I'd assume. And it's been a weird top half of the third. We saw in the bottom of the second a balk call. And for the Chinooks, something even weirder, a first pitch swing gone right, as Wilburn misses on the outside to make it a 1-2 count now. Kind of ironic how about 2 minutes after you were explaining Groth's aggressiveness, that was on full display as his arms were waving about 90 miles per hour to get Gilcrease home as he slid in head first to tie the game up. Mixon swinging a miss, and that's going to be down on strikes. For out number 2, as up to the plate is the hard-hitting left-handed catcher, DHing tonight for your Chinooks, Justin Gomez. And he was putting up some bombs again. As I explained last night, this guy can hit if he can connect on one. And that's exactly what John Groth and the Chinooks are going to want from him tonight. Gomez digs in. Crotty at second. 2 outs. 3-3 game now. Pitch from Wilburn. Gomez first pitch swing, and that's going to be into center for Thompson. He's going to camp under that, and that's going to do it for your Chinooks. Nonetheless, the Chinooks score 3 runs on 4 hits, thanks to some timely base running. And when we come back, it's going to be the Glacier Pilots hoping to put some runs to take that lead back against the Chinooks when we come back in the bottom of the third. 3-3 ball game. Now, as we head to the bottom half of the third, the Chinooks able to put 3 on the scoreboard in the top half. Up to bat here is the second baseman, Malcolm Tipler. Going to be a sophomore next year. Native of Jackson, Tennessee, as he puts down the bunt. Nothing going as Batten misses on the outside for ball 1. 1-0 count. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss by Tipler.
This is kind of the time where Batten at this point needs to be, he's got a little bit of a cushion, I guess, not as a lead cushion, but like a little bit more confidence now that he's got an offense behind him. And this would be something he could definitely execute on as he puts a strike in there for strike 2.
And that's what you hope if you're the Chinooks, is that Batten was able to shake that off, as Batten was able to, his lineup supported him, gave the at least 3 runs on the board to put it kind of a 0-0 ball game, kind of a new ball game, essentially. And what you're hoping for is Batten can kind of take that composure, settle back in. He kind of got his jitters out. And so far, looking good. 2-2 count. Nobody out in the bottom of the third. Batten just misses on the inside, and Batten's almost hit a few more guys. As he stood there, 6'5", 195. The big right-hander thrower from Southern Wesleyan University. 3-2 pitch. And that's going to be cranked out to Prees in center. And Prees is going to track that down for out number 1. Cameron Thompson now the center fielder up for the Pilots after Malcolm Tipler flew out to center. From Kansas State is Thompson. From Pasadena, Texas, is Batten is on the outside again. One 0 count now. 1 out. Bottom of the third. Batten the pitch. Misses down low for ball 2. Batten, 2-0 count, misses on the outside, 3-0. And you have to assume after not only just the balk, but the hit by pitch, Batten's a little rattled. Obviously, it's a 3-3 game now, but maybe his composure's totally not there as he puts in that strike.
Yeah, I definitely say it could be a little bit shaken, but there's always the chance that for confidence to come back. I think he's definitely got a shot to bring it back.
And that's right up the middle by Thompson on that hitter's count, 3-1. As Thompson gets on base as Ian Evans, number 13, the DH from GCU, and a Covina, California native, comes up for the Pilots. As Chris Beck is going to take the long walk down to the Chinook bullpen. And Ryan, you know that sign, I'd assume. Is that him calling for a guy to get warmed up?
Yeah, well, he's walking down there. That means they're not paying attention at all. They do have a sign in front of them so they can't see, but that's him trying to get someone loose.
And Batten, a quick grounder, composes himself, throws to first to Mixon to get the out. And now 2 away. As Thompson was able to get from first to second, Batten did everything he could to keep that from hitting him. And Beck walks back to the dugout as the Chinook bullpen starts to get a little warm down there. It is funny to see the pitchers interact with Chris Beck here as they kind of all get to know each other. As I can definitely say, and Ryan, you can probably back me up on this, the pitchers have their own little lingo in the baseball world.
The pitchers are definitely their own breed. That's for sure. They're definitely
true.
all goofballs, and my dad is definitely not one to shy away from any of that. So,
and then there's the opposite of John Groth, the manager. Polar opposites is John Groth and your dad, the pitching coach, Chris Beck. 0-1 pitch from Batten, miss on the outside for ball 1. And that's been really interesting to watch, is the dynamic. Your dad, Chris Beck, has said all good things to say about Groth. Obviously, they work very well, but the complete opposites. But that's the beauty of baseball. It doesn't matter what your background is, no matter what your DNA is, you can enjoy and love America's pastime. And that's a swing and a miss by Cuba Best, the catcher. Going to make that a 1-2 count now with 2 outs in the bottom of the third as Thompson stands on second. 3-3 game here as the Chinooks were able to put up a crooked number in the top half of this inning to even up the score 3-3. Batten looks in, 1-2 count to Bess. The pitch just on the outside as Batten's been throwing a lot over there into the right-hander's batter's box as him and Karate trying to figure things out here to get it exact where he wants it. 2-2 count now. 2 outs. Bottom of the third. Thompson on second. Bess at the plate. Batten looks in, gets the call from Karate. Looks over at Thompson a few times. The pitch. And that's going to be a strikeout looking from Bess, and Batten shakes off the early base runner to get out of this inning. And no runs on 1 hit. And when we come back, it's going to be a 3-3 ball game as the Chinooks look to take the lead in the top of the fourth. We'll be back. We're back here in the top of the fourth as Preston White, the hard-hitting right-hander, digs in against the new pitcher from the Anchorage Glacier Pilots. And we're going to call him number 22 as his number's not on the roster. But once we figure that out, we'll get it to you guys as soon as possible. White just flew in a few days ago as he joined the Chinooks. A little late, but that's okay. We are grateful he is here. He's going to be attending Masters University next year, folks. He's excited for that. He was here last year, an alum of the Chugiak Chinooks. 3-3 ball game. The top of the fourth. 2-0 pitch. And White's going to take that for strike one to make it a 2-1 count. 2-1 count as White sends that right up to a little "how you doing" broadcasters. And Ryan, if you had your glove and there was no window, I would expect you to have caught that.
I would have done my best, or I would have advised you to duck.
Advised me to duck. Well, that's why I wore a hat. Maybe I need a helmet from the dugout.
I'll just
next
take the
game.
catcher's gear. How about that?
I'll take that too. They got a few extra, I think. 2-2 pitch. Miss on the outside as Best was trying to paint the corners on that one, and that's going to make it a full count now. As we've gotten some good action up here. A ball came up on the deck. A ball hit the window almost, and we need gloves and gear up here. 3-2 pitch, and White's going to take that on the inside as the Chinooks get a leadoff hitter, and we'll take it no matter how we can, as Brandon Michi, the man down under, from the country down under, the Australian-born Brandon Michi, second baseman, comes up for your Chinooks with White on first base.
It's definitely been fun in the past couple of days to get to know Brandon Michi. And the first day I met him, I didn't realize he was from Australia, and I thought he was messing with me with his accent. And I was like, oh no, I'm like, this is definitely something that I got to learn with. And then he told me, he's like, oh, I'm from Australia. I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. Like
There's actually a few players that thought the same thing as you. As a balk was called on the Glacier Pilot pitcher, and still only 22, as he's known to us. But that is true. Michi is an Australian native, I promise you, as he's going to be attending Mercer University, as he was at a community college this past year. He was recruited on a little recruiting trip. He came out here last year. You must have thought he was the jokester then with that fake accent.
Well, I thought he was, and then I realized he wasn't kidding. He was actually from Australia.
Actually real. As White stands in at second thanks to that balk by the Glacier Pilots pitcher. 1-0 count now to Michi. No outs in the top of the fourth is number 22. And I do apologize for sounding so unprofessional, but that is all we have right now. Miz on the outside again. That's fouled off by Michi. Two-one count now to Michi. No outs. Top of the fourth. 3-3 ball game. And Michi's going to take that one inside for ball number 3. As Jordan Wharton, who got things started for the Chinooks in the top of the third, stands on deck. And this is starting to look good for the Chinooks, as they have a runner in scoring position with nobody out, and has a chance to take the lead. And that's going to be a ball number 4 to walk Michi. And some confusion down as White comes from second to third.
It appears that there was another balk called on the pitcher. That'd be his second.
And so, Ryan, I actually do not know this rule. Because the balk, the pitch is kind of doesn't
count. The pitch
count.
is null and void. It's kind of like
It's
if you were to, there's no pitch called.
Well, it doesn't matter anyways. Michi's going to aboard. Well, thanks for clarifying that, as I had no idea. All I saw was Michi throws his bat, stays at the box, and White's going from second to third.
Exactly. A little confusing at first.
But no matter what, the Chinooks have runners on the corners, nobody out, as the Indiana Wesleyan University college athlete, Jordan Wharton.
And we're now just being informed by the press box staff here at Mulcahy Stadium that the pitcher, number 22, his name is Ryan Perkins, and he hails from Palmer, Alaska. He's a native here. And so far, he's doing okay. I mean, 2 balks and 1 walk so far, as he takes his first pitch to Jordan Wharton high and inside for ball 1. It's definitely been interesting to see. I have not seen a whole lot of Native Alaskans up here in this league, but this is definitely probably one of a handful as Wharton pops this one straight up. And a little confusion, but the third baseman, Austin Chauvin, is definitely going to come in, and he's going to haul it in for the first out of the inning for the Glacier Pilots.
Wharton just got under that a little bit. That went way up in the air. Third baseman. Chauvin was able to get under that, calling his infield off as number 11, Alex Schmidt's up with runners on the corners for the Chinooks. 3-3 game, top of the fourth. Here comes the pitch. And Schmidt's going to foul that one high out of the stadium here to make it a quick 0-1 hole. Ryan Perkins, as Ryan was saying, hails from Alaska. It was interesting. I did see in the exhibition game against the Bucks, it was a graduate, just graduated from high school, was playing for the Bucks up in this league.
Definitely an opportunity for a lifetime coming out of high school.
Definitely. As Michi runs, but doesn't matter. Schmitz gets hit, and he's going to get on base the old-fashioned way, and that's going to load the bases for the leadoff hitter, Micah Prees. As the Chinooks, with only one out here, have a chance to open this game up on a pretty good margin. As Preston White stands on third, Brandon Michi on second. And thanks to a hit by pitch, Alex Schmitz at first, as Micah Prees, the center fielder, digs in against Perkins. And the pitch. Prees is going to drive that out to center. And is that going to be deep enough? As White comes in, the throw from center. And that's going to be a pass ball as White scores. Takes the lead for the Chinooks, and Michi is going to advance from second to third, and Schmitz from first to second. And your Chinooks have the 4-3 lead. That was a gutsy call from Groth. That was not a deep hit whatsoever.
It wasn't deep, but he trusted White's speed there, and he was able to get around the catcher, and the catcher ended up losing the ball and it going past and being a little bit of a wild throw there, and was able to manage to step on the dish and take the lead for the Chinooks there.
And your call of Groth's aggressiveness is coming into play a lot this game, as the Chinooks now have a 4-3 lead over the Pilots. And with 2 outs, runners on second and third, hoping to add on to that. That's Levi Gilcrease, right-handed hitter from Baylor University, steps up with 2 outs. As Perkins misses down low again for a 2-0 count now. This is prime position for the Chinooks. As we were talking, it was kind of a tale of two halves here so far. The first 2 innings, a.k.a. the first half, we were begging for the Chinooks offense to wake up, and now it is woken up, and now we just needed to stay woke for a few more innings here. 2-0 pitch as Gilcrease swings and misses for strike number 1. Perkins trying to settle down, as Ryan was saying earlier. 2 balks already on the call in just this top half of the fourth.
Those balks definitely had a little bit of a price to pay for him, as those were the ones that advanced the runners and put White in scoring position.
Perkins misses down low for ball 3. Well, yeah, you were right. As White came from first, and he, because of the 2 balks, came all the way to third.
Just a free pass.
Just a free pass. As he almost got home to collect $200. And my favorite board game to play, Monopoly. And Gilcrease is going to take that high. And it's going to be bases loaded again. And Alex Crotty, who was able to hit in Wharton to get the Chinooks on the board in the first place, is up to bat with the bases loaded here. 4-3 lead for the Chinooks. 4 hits compared to 3 hits for the Pilots. Michi stands on third. Schmitz at second. And now Gilcrease stands at first.
Big opportunity here to blow the door wide open.
A huge opportunity for the Chinooks. And that's what we're hoping for by Crotty. And as Ryan Beck has said earlier, Groth is not afraid to pull the trigger on sending his runners home, as Crotty drives that up to center, but Thompson's going to call off his outfield. And he's going to put it away for out number 3. But not before the Chinooks put 1 on the board to give the Chinooks a 4-3 lead. And that's exactly what we want to see here. And when we come back to bottom of the fourth, the Chinooks hoping to keep their lead. 4-3 through 3.5. New pitcher for your Chinooks, Aiden Stout, making his Chinooks debut from the Masters University. On up to bat now, Austin Chauvin, the third baseman from St. Mary's College in California. Aiden Stout flew in 2 days ago. Right-handed pitcher. Gets off to an 0-1 start. And just missed on the outside for ball one. Chinooks in the top half of the fourth was able to do some damage to give them the lead of 4-3. So far, it's been a light hitting contest, but through balks and airs, teams are able to put up runs as Stout misses again on the outside for ball two. 2-1 game now. Excuse me, 2-1 count. Stout the pitch. And that's just tipped by Chauvin to even up the count 2-2. Stout the 2-2 pitch. Just on the outside for ball three. Beautiful weather here tonight in Anchorage. Not a cloud. There's a few clouds in sight. As Stout misses on the outside for ball four, and he's going to walk Chauvin. As now Carter Benz, the first baseman for Fresno State's going to be up with a runner aboard for the Pilots. 4-3 game in favor of your Chugiak Chinooks. Stout throws over to Mixon at first. Nothing going on. Just keeping him honest. Like we saw Batten do a few times in the beginning of the game. Stout looks in. Nobody out. Bottom of the fourth. There's a drive in the left by Benz, and that's going to put two runners aboard now for the Pilots. And all of a sudden, the enjoyment from the Chinooks getting the lead is staggered now between fear of giving it back up. Chandler Anderson, the right-handed hitting right fielder from University of Utah, and digs in against Stout. Runners on second and first. Nobody out. In the bottom of the fourth here. Stout looks in. Pitch to Crotty. And that's to Schmitz. Schmitz has to hurry and to Mixon. And there's an out. And Schmitz didn't really know what he was doing there for a second. Thought about throwing it to third. Couldn't get that. And made the last second decision to throw it to first. And just barely got the forced out there at first. That's going to put runners on third and second. And Ryan, if you're Schmitz, do you try to go to third there? As that looked to be his first instinct. Or?
You're trying to get, I mean, in that sort of instance, you're trying to get the lead runner out to prevent, the run getting close to home, and scoring. But in that instance, it was smart to go to first in the end to get the for sure out. But in that instance, it would have been smart to go to third, but also going from second to first would also not been a terrible idea either.
And Stout puts that in for strike number two. And like Ryan was saying, trying to get the lead runner. But Schmitz almost made it a worse case scenario as that throw just came in before the batter, Anderson, was able to get on first. And there's another tapper to Schmitz. And Schmitz is going to go to first. And that's going to be the two outs, but not before. Chauvin comes in from third to tie this game up at 4. And for the second inning in a row, we're right back at a brand new ball game. But this time, Carter Benz stands at third as the go-ahead run for the Pirates stands 90 feet away for Andre Gregory. The shortstop here, the leadoff hitter, Will Brennan, stands in with 2 outs. Stout misses for ball 1. And just as the Chinooks was able to get that lead, just in the amount of time they got it, it is gone. Stout misses on the inside. Crotty able to keep that ball in front of him to keep number 14, Carter Benz, honest over there at third. 2-0 count now with 2 outs. Bottom of the fourth here. Stout delivers. Miss on the upstairs a little bit for take it to a 3-0 count. Three-0 pitch. And there's a strike one to give the leadoff Pilot a hitter's count here. 3-1, 2 outs. The pitch. And that's going to walk Will Brennan as Stout could not find the strike zone there. And up to bat is Malcolm Tipler, a left-handed hitting second baseman. As now runners on the corners for the Pilots. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. 1 run already for the Pilots to even up this game. As Stout looks to get out of this inning with only 1 run, throws back. Nothing happening with Brennan over there at first, but keeping him honest, as it's been a relative theme of this game, and keeping those runners on first honest over there. 2 outs, bottom of the fourth. 4-4 is the score as Stout throws back again. And when we saw this earlier by batting in the first, we were wondering why so many throws. In the next pitch, the runner was off to second. And we'll see if that's what's going in Brennan's head now, with runners on the corners, 2 outs. And that's going to be a balk by Stout. And the run comes in from third. And Brennan's going to be granted second. And all of a sudden, the Pilots have a 5-4 lead. So, Ryan, take us through what just happened there.
Basically, the Stout balked, and with the runner on third, he was trying to pick off towards first, and he managed to catch the runner on first off guard. However, because of the balk, it didn't really matter.
So, was the balk because he went into his windup?
I think he set before, started his motion, and then stopped, and then with that pickoff move, caused it to advance the runners.
And Stout misses down low, and the ball gets away from Crotty. And Brennan's going to go to third, as we saw in the top half of the fourth with the Pilots pitcher Perkins. He had 2 balks, and after one of those balks, kind of things went downhill, and Stout's hoping to not have the same thing happen for the Chinooks here. As quickly, that lead has evaporated to now a 1-run deficit. As Stout, a 2-1 count now against Tipler with a runner on third. 2 outs, bottom of the fourth. Misses down low on the inside to make it a hitter's count for Tipler. 3-1 count, 2 outs this inning. Chinooks hoping to get out of this, only down 1. And Stout misses again on the outside to put runners again back on the corners. As Cameron Thompson comes in to hit for the Pilots. Runners take their leads now with 2 outs. Thompson hoping to give the Chinooks a 2-run lead at least. He half swings that, but he goes around for strike number 1. A 1 pitch now for Stout. Thompson misses up high for ball number 2. Excuse me, for ball 1 to even the count 1-1. The Kansas State product looking to put the Pilots up by more than 1 here. Runners on the corners, the pitch. And that's stroked into right field. And that's going to get by Mitchie as Thompson comes in to score. And that's past Gilcrease. And here comes Tipler. And he's going to come all the way home. And that's going to be a 7-4 lead now for the Pilots as Thompson is able to get to third. And that got past Mitchie. The ball tipped off Mitchie's glove, and the charging Gilcrease in right came in and ran over that ball because of the tip by Mitchie's glove. And because of those two things combined, that allowed Tipler to come in to score the second run of that at-bat. And Thompson come from the batter's box all the way to third. Swing and a miss by Ian Evans. And the Chinooks now are down by 3 as they come into this inning up by 1. And that is not the way the Chinooks wanted to defend that lead. They're going to have to climb out of a 3-hole deficit once more. As Stout misses down low again to even up the count 1-1. Still 2 outs. Thompson at third. And the Pilots appear to not be done yet as they look to tack on yet another run. Strike 2 in there for Stout. And some action going on in the Chinook bullpen as we expect a new pitcher in the bottom of the 5th. Stout is just hoping to get out of this without surrendering another run. And misses on the outside again for ball 2. 2-2 count. Two pitch. Swing and a miss by Evans, and Stout puts Evans away, not before giving up 4 runs, and the Pilots take the lead, and they have a 7-4 lead now as we head to the top of the 5th. The Chinooks, once again, will have some work to do to even up this game. When we come back, it's top of the 5th for Chinook baseball. Top of the 5th now for your Chinooks batters as Hayden Mixon digs in against Perkins. As Perkins out there for the second inning of his game, and he misses outside for ball 1. Not a good bottom half of the 4th for Chinooks pitching. That's 4 runs on 2 hits. And now the Pilots are back up 7-4. As Perkins puts that in for ball 1. And we needed the Chinooks to dig out a hole. In the top of the 3rd, we need the same thing again in the top of the 5th. And that's right over our heads for strike 2 as Mixon fouls that one off to put him in the hole 1-2. Nobody out here with the DH Gomez on deck. Pitch from Perkins. Just on the outside. Just up high. 2-2 is the count now. Mixon restraps his bat gloves, regrips his bat. Looking to put another leadoff base runner here for the Chinooks. 2-2 pitch. Here it comes. And that's stroked into left, and that is going to be caught by the left fielder, Cameron Thompson, and that's Mixon away after 5 pitches there for Perkins. And Justin Gomez, the left-handed hitting DH from Azusa Pacific University, comes in with 1 out. Hoping to start something here for the Chinooks with Preston White on deck. Pitch from Perkins, 1 out. It's on the outside for ball number 1. It was interesting to see the Chinooks hitting this ballpark. They were just raking away. I counted about at least 8 home runs in batting practice.
Yeah, there's definitely some power behind some of those hitters.
And so far, we've only seen 1 power experience so far, and that was in the exhibition matchup by the catcher Adam Rojas, who's catching in the bullpen tonight. 2-1 pitch for Perkins. Is outside again for ball 3. But we are hoping one day that those power hitters come up. But like you've said several times, Ryan, this is a pitcher's league. And as we'd expect, it does take a little time to acclimate as Perkins gets that in for strike number 1 to make it a 3-1 count. But we expect in the next week or so these hitters to really feel comfortable and these uniforms and these lineups and against these pitchers of the ABL League.
Absolutely.
3-1 pitch. And Gomez fouls that off to the left to make it a full count now. Top of the 5th with 1 out. Perkins seems to have settled down, you would say, Ryan, from those 2 balks in the top of the 4th. As I say that, the broadcaster jinx is in full effect as Perkins misses on the outside to walk Gomez. Got to ask you, Ryan, do you believe in the broadcaster jinx?
You know, there's a lot of weird superstitions that go on, but there are a lot of baseball ones that, yes, I would agree with. A broadcaster jinx being one of them.
Well, we're going to own that and hopefully jinx the Chinooks into success this summer.
Yeah, hopefully.
As I've told several people I've met here, it's only been about, it's actually going to be a week from tomorrow when I've flown in, but it feels like I've been here 2 months. And I mean that in a good, positive way. As White comes up and Perkins misses up high. But that's the one thing I love about Alaska, as I'm sure you've experienced in your 18 years here. Everybody is a lot more friendly. Not to say there's not friendly people where I'm from in California, but it's a lot more slowed down a little bit and just enjoy life a little bit as White fouls that over our heads. But I don't know, you live in Ohio. How's the difference from Ohio to here?
Definitely. I'd say the same thing. There's definitely a dynamic where I know from the small town where I come from, it's a lot like here in Alaska. The dynamic of the people here, they're very friendly, very helpful, especially if once you get to know them, they become even more friendly than what they would seem. But yeah, definitely, it's the people of Alaska are definitely some of the nicest you'll meet, and it can be a little bit. It almost be a little bit weird to see how nice they actually can be. It's awesome though. I really do enjoy it.
I can vouch for that. One of the things that really is stuck in my mind that really shows the difference from Alaska life to the big city life is I was walking up a hill on a path, and here comes this dog just off a leash, just strolling along. But about 10 feet behind him was his owner, and they were just having a good time, asking how I was. Didn't even know them. But that's how it's up in Alaska. Not too many worries as White strokes that down to left, and that is a foul ball as White, and we were just talking about wanting those power hitters to be unleashed, just misses by about 2 feet down there. And he just ripped that down the left field line. And I will have to agree with the ump. That did look foul. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I would say it looked foul, but he absolutely destroyed that ball. Not that it counts, it's just a really long strike, but he put that ball in the football field, not left field.
White seems to be on Perkins as he fouls that one right back to the backstop after ripping. And folks, we don't really say that lightly. That got out of here in about 2 seconds.
It was one of those line drive homers that you would see that just gets out of the park in a hurry, but it just happened to be foul. Kind of disappointing.
That's one of those hitters where you got good contact, but that's a hard strike to just take, as you know, you were so close to a home run here. But hopefully White could do some damage anyway. Shake that one off and put the ball back in play. 2-2 pitch here for Perkins. 1 out. Top of the 5th as Perkins hits that oppo into right. And Anderson camps under that. And Perkins, after coming up about 2 feet away from a home run, flies out to right. And 2 away now for the Chinooks is Brandon Mitchie. Comes on the plate with 2 outs away here on the top of the 5th. 7-4 ball game in favor of the arch rival Pilots as Jordan Wharton stands on deck. Gomez takes the lead on first. Pitch from Perkins, looks over at Gomez. Nothing happening. The pitch to Mitchie. Mitchie rips that to the second baseman. And that's Tipler to second. And that's going to do it for the Chinooks. No runs on 1 hit for the Chinooks. And when we come back, it's going to be the bottom of the 5th here as Chinooks look to keep this a 3-run deficit when we come back. Chinook baseball. Right back. There's a miss by Stout to start things in the bottom of the fifth. As Best, the catcher, stands up. And he's going to rip that down the line. Foul and left. Now, Ryan, I want to ask you, one thing I found last night was whenever there was a foul ball, there was a sponsor. And the fans say thank you as Best swings and misses for strike two. How long has that been going on? There's some fun traditions.
There are some fun traditions down in Chugiak, in Eagle River. It all started, there was one guy basically that started that tradition, and he kept saying it after every foul ball, and it just stuck. Everybody started saying it, and he started that the first year we were here, and then after that, it's just kind of been a thing ever since.
As that's a hit to Schmitz at short. Schmitz throws to Mixon, and Best, the catcher's going to run that out for an infield single. And that's the leadoff hitter aboard for Pilots. Well, fans, if you live here in Anchorage or anywhere in Alaska, if you have not made it out to Lee Jordan Field, please do. We have our next home game next Friday. And as Ryan was telling you, there are some awesome traditions there. Great food. I had a burger during the live broadcast. It was great. As I bet Ryan can vouch for me on that. And it's a great experience to be a Chinook fan in Alaska.
Definitely. We have probably one of the best atmospheres. As for just ballpark and scenery, it doesn't really get much better than it does at Chugiak. The mountains are surrounding it. There's the streets far away, and it's definitely just beautiful place to watch a baseball game.
It's a beautiful scenery. As champion Chauvin rips that in the left, and that's going to be two aboard now for the Pilots. And this is no disrespect to Mulcahy Stadium, but the view at Lee Jordan, it just can't get beat.
Yeah, no, it's pretty tough to beat the view at Lee Jordan Field as compared to here at Mulcahy.
And I remember when we were talking on Wednesday in the home season opener at Matsu, we were talking about how there's a moose at Lee Jordan. Is there any other wildlife? As Stout puts that in for strike one. Any other wildlife seen at the field?
I have only heard of just moose. Thankfully, we haven't had any bear run-intos at Lee Jordan Field, although that, as anywhere in Alaska, there's always the chance that you could run into a bear.
There's a rip in the left field. And here comes Best. He's going to be waved in, and he's going to be quickly called off by his third base coaches. That was a bullet from White to keep this just a 3-run game, as now bases loaded. And we're going to need a moose-sized effort here for the Chinooks to get out of this with no runs earned. Did you like that moose reference?
That was a pretty good moose joke right there.
Was it a little forced? I don't think it was forced at all.
No, that was pretty free flowing right there.
We'll be having a lot of those this season. Is Chandler Anderson digs in with the bases loaded, nobody out. 1-0 now as Stout misses. Bess on third. Chauvin on second and Benz on first. And Utah sends that into right, and that's going to drop. And there's one run scored for the Pilots as here comes another run. And there's going to be a third run coming in as Anderson's going to dig out a triple. And that's going to be a stand-up triple as 3 runs score for the Pilots to make this a 10-4 game. Still nobody out. With Andre Gregory coming up. Anderson, a stand-up triple. And I doubt you see many of those here. As this field, these walls are not that deep. But a stand-up triple, he hit that right down the right field line. And Gilcrease did all he could do. As Gregory stands, looking to put another run on the board here to give the Pilots a 7-run lead.
Yeah, the ball just got right by Gilcrease in that instance and caused some issues.
And there's Karate. Karate throws home, and that's a throw. Doesn't get to Stout. And a 7-run lead now for the Pilots as Anderson comes home on that pass ball by Stout. And what looked to be a promising game in the top of the 4th as the Chinooks took the lead 4-3 has quickly spiraled down as now they face a 7-run deficit. And there's a hit to Schmitz at short. Schmitz to Mixon at first. There's the first out of the inning. As now Stout really just has to shake it off. And yes, he's allowed 8 runs in 2 innings, but he just needs to shake all this off. Kind of start fresh. He passes the past right now. Because if he keeps on thinking about those 8 runs, he's not going to get through this. Not being scratched up again as there's a hit out to left field as White camps under that. As that was the leadoff hitter, Will Brennan, and now Malcolm Tipler, second baseman, comes up to bat. And what started off well has now been a case of extremely deep hole for the Chinooks to dig out of. But then again, this is baseball. There is no time limit. Ryan, what's the longest game you've seen here?
I have in 2007, the game between deciding whether we would go to the championship game or not was decided in 17 innings, and that was about a 4-hour game.
And there, Tipler flies out to White. That's going to end the 5th inning here, but not before the Pilots tack on 4 runs to give them an 11-4 lead here. And as we head to the 6th, the Chinooks have a lot of work to do to tie this game back up. When we come back, it's going to be the top of the 6th for your Chinook baseball. Top of the 6th here for your Chinooks. Jordan Wharton comes to plate against Perkins. As Perkins misses on the outside for ball 1. The dimensions of this field, both of these corners go to 325, and center field wall is 410. And left center and right center, we expect to be about 375 in terms of feet. But in the bottom of the fifth, that was a rip down the right field line all the way, all 325 feet of that. As Anderson was able to dig out a triple. And there's Wharton into right center, but Anderson is going to tip that off. And there's one out for the Chinooks. Up to bat now is Alex Schmitz, the shortstop from Oral Roberts University. One out here in the top of the sixth. The Chinooks really need to get something started here to have a chance at this game. As Perkins missed on the outside again.
Perkins has got himself a little bit of a lead to work with now.
That's an understatement there. A little bit of a lead. But like you were saying, after those two balks, he did look a little bit shaky, but would you agree that he seems to have definitely composed? Obviously, a 7-run lead would compose most pitchers. But after those balks, he really seems to have settled in and really been honing in on those pitches.
Definitely, definitely.
As Schmitz gets some wood on that to make it a 2-1 count. Some action going on down in the Chinooks bullpen. Can't visualize yet who it is, but we're likely to see a new pitcher in the bottom half of the sixth. Schmidt stands in, 2-1 count, 1 out, 11-4 lead for the Pilots. Here comes the 2-1. Miss on the outside for a hitter's count for Schmitz, and Schmitz hopefully can capitalize here to give the Chinooks some breathing to come back in this game. As the leadoff hitter Micah Preece stands on deck. Levi Gilcrease in the hole, 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss by Schmitz to put the count at full, 3-2 here. Three-two pitch, and Schmitz ropes that down to left, but just a little bit of ahead of that as he was on contact full, but by the time he made contact with the ball, that ball was going nowhere except foul. And there's a swing and a miss by Schmitz. That's 2 away now for the Chinooks as Micah Preece comes up. Two outs now in the top of the sixth. Price takes that on the inside for ball 1. 1-0 count now, 2 outs, top of the sixth, 11-4 lead for the Pilots. And Preece ropes that down the right field line. Now, in case you're not used to the feet in terms of determining length, 99 meters. That sounds a lot. That sounds pretty short. But 99 meters down the both left and right field lines and 125 meters to straight center. And when you put it in those terms, that seems like a pretty reasonable field. But this is America, folks, and that's 410 feet in center and 325 on the corners. And Preston White in the top of the fifth came close to clearing that 325-foot threshold for home run, but that just foul as Preece makes subtle contact with that as that comes right back to the backstop there. Two-two count now with 2 outs in the top of the sixth. Ever since the bottom half of the fourth, it's been all Pilots so far, and their fingerprints are all over this game. 2-2 pitch as Preece takes that on the elbow, and he's going to be aboard to hopefully start a 2-out rally as Levi Gilcrease, the number 2 hitter, steps to the plate. Preece takes his lead at first. Gilcrease looks in to And back-to-back hitters. Hit now is Gilcrease from Perkins. And we have 2 runners aboard now as Crotty comes up the plate. And that's back-to-back hitters hit here for Perkins. Karate digs in, hitting from the left side. Perkins is on the outside for ball number 1. Prees on second. Gilcrease on first. Perkins takes the pitch from Bess. As there's a pop-up in the center. Cameron Thompson out there is going to track that, and that's going to do it for the Chinooks in the top of the 6th. When we come back, new pitcher for the Chinooks. 11-4 deficit so far, and the Chinooks hope to keep it that way in the bottom of the 6th as the Pilots come to the plate. New pitcher for the Chugiak Chinooks. The bearded wonder, Eddie Hyatt, as the Chinooks like to call it, the sickest beard in the ABL. Charleston Southern product faces his first batter, Cameron Thompson, the center fielder, who ended the top of the 6th on a flyout. Hyatt faces him and misses inside for ball number 1. Hyatt struggled in his first outing on Wednesday, allowing 3 runs on 2 hits. 1-0 pitch. Misses down low for ball 2. Hyatt is a Goose Creek, South Carolina native. I will be honest, I have no idea where that is. But just from how it sounds, I'd assume it has great cooking. There's a hit to Mitchie at second. Mitchie gets there, mixing at first, and the call of the plate is safe at first. As Thompson will dig that out. Mitchie did everything he could. But Thompson did everything and more there to get the infield single. As Ian Evans, the DH from GCU, stands up to the plate. With now a leadoff runner on for the Pilots. Hyatt digs in against Evans, runner on first. Puts that in for strike number 1. 0-1 count now for Hyatt.
one of the trio from Charleston Southern University. Can't get that slider in as that hangs outside for ball one. Even up now, a 1-1 count. Nobody out here on the bottom of the sixth. Thompson up on first. Hyatt the pitch. Swing and a miss by Evans, and he blew that fastball right by him. Hyatt's fastball sits around 83, 84. He has a slider with him as well. And Hyatt hangs his hat on that slider. Talking to him beforehand. He loves throwing that pitch, working with our pitching coach, Chris Beck, beforehand, before the game on getting better control and keeping it honed in. As Hyatt looks to display that tonight against Evans right now, 2-2 pitch, and that's tipped to Wharton. Wharton to second, and Mitchie doesn't throw to first, but he does get the lead runner at second, and that's one away now for the Pilots. Wharton heads up play at third, able to get that throw over to Mitchie, and now the catcher, the GCU Antelope, Cuba Bess. I'll be honest, haven't seen that name before outside of being a country. I don't know about you, Ryan, but that's the first time I've seen a Cuba.
Yeah, that is definitely the first time I've ever seen that name, other than the actor Cuba Gooding Jr. But
Gooding Jr., forgot about him.
But as for a baseball player, that is the first time I've seen that. Unless, of course, I'm missing someone.
It does seem to have a pretty good ring to it, Cuba. That's a marketing manager's dream as that gets by Mitchie in second. And that's going to put 2 on now for the Pilots. In the bottom of the sixth here. 2 on now. 11-4 lead for the Pilots. In the bottom of the sixth. Austin Chauvin, the third baseman, up. Hyatt, 1 out with 2 runners on, and then he misses outside. As Hyatt puts that in for strike number 1. And Hyatt on the inside makes the count 2-1 now. Hyatt, 2-1 pitch. As that's high for ball 3. And Hyatt, like he did Wednesday, struggling to keep that pitch down. 3-1 pitch, runners on first and second, 1 away. Bottom of the sixth. And there's another walk for Hyatt.
Now the bases are loaded. With Carter Binns stepping up to the plate.
Bases loaded now for Hyatt.
Chinooks at this point are definitely going to kill to try and stop the bleeding here and prevent any more runs from scoring, as would be the best case scenario. As Hyatt is good for strike 1. High and inside.
And there's a rip down left, but that's going to go foul for Carter Binns, the first baseman. As White picks that up in left. And Hyatt, hoping to not repeat what he did on Wednesday as he walked 3 and hit another batter. As he gave up 3 earned runs. 0-2 pitch from Hyatt. Swing and a miss by Binns. That's what Hyatt needed there. 2 away now for the Pilots in the bottom of the sixth. Chandler Anderson now from University of Utah, Park City, Utah native. Comes up for the Pilots as he's hoping to get some wood on Hyatt's fastball here. Or his slider. Most likely will be on a slider if Hyatt has anything to say about it. And that is fouled behind the backstop here on the right side. For quick 0-1 hole now for Anderson. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Bottom of the 6th. 11-4 lead for the Pilots. Hyatt gets the call from Crotty. Digs in the pitch. And there's a rip into left to White. And he gets under there. And that's going to do it for the bottom of the 6th. Hyatt, a little bit of a scare there as he loaded the bases, but was able to get out of there. And with 2 hits, no runs scored, and when we come back, the Chinooks are going to be hitting on the top of the 7th. When we come back, we have more Chinook baseball. Top of the 7th now for your Chinooks, down 11-4 here. Hayden Mixon, the first baseman from LSU Eunice, comes up against Ryan Perkins. He's out there again. Swing and a miss by Mixon. For strike number 1 by Perkins. And the Chinooks, only 9 outs to work with here. Gonna have to really work fast and work diligently here if they want to have any chance at making a great comeback here. And Perkins is on the outside for ball 1. Justin Gomez, the hard-hitting designated hitter, stands on deck. Good crowd here for the Pilots on this Friday evening. A little bit chilly, but that's just my California side as Perkins hits another batter. That's his 3rd hit tonight. But Mixon, down 7, will take it. And I know John Groff would say the same thing. Gomez now, hoping to do some damage at the plate. As Preston White stands on deck and wanted to put as many runners on base for these Chinook hitters to try to take advantage of maybe a lapse in Perkins' mind as he hits another batter in Mixon. And Gomez swings and misses on that, and he was just on that, but just missed as well. And like I said before, Gomez in batting practice was ripping balls, and that just wasn't today. That's been seen ever since he got here on Friday. And he has the potential to really just crank one out of here if he gets the pitch he was looking for. And if he can connect it. 0-1 count as Perkins throws back to Mixon. Nothing going on there from Mixon going at first. Has some bullpen action now for the Chinooks. I would assume Hyatt might go out there for the top of the 8th, or the bottom of the 7th. As Gomez swings and misses to make it an 0-2 hole now. And the Chinooks, after a great 3rd and 4th inning, just have not been able to muster up any sort of offense whatsoever, unless you count the 3 hit batters. And Perkins misses down low for ball 1 to make it a 1-2 count. a little 5K, it seems like, going on here in Anchorage, Alaska. As if you see in the left field wall, and beyond that, you see all those pink flags. Seems to be having some fun over there as Gomez rips that out to center, but not before Thompson's able to get there, and he calls off his right fielder to put one away for the Chinooks as Mixon has to trot back to first. Preston White, a hard-hitting left fielder, stands at the plate. Now, Ryan, you saw Preston last year. We've seen him on the plate and in left field, but how is he on the mound?
He is a scary force in the mound. He has a bit of a cannon. He's throwing low
6'5".
90s. Yeah, 6'5".
Shoot.
He is a big guy, and throws low 90s. Definitely makes it interesting. So it was fun to watch him last year. I'm sure he might do a couple of innings here just on the mound, just in case, give a reliever a little bit of a break or eat some innings up. So definitely interesting to see.
1-0 pitch here as White hits that in the left, and that's going to put two aboard now for the Chinooks. With one away in the top of the seventh is Brandon Michi, left-handed hitting Australian, comes aboard here. I was talking to White before the game and was asking him, being a outfielder and a pitcher, what he prefers to pitch, and he said that he does like to close, and that he closed for Chugiak last year, and at his college he attended this past year. White will be attending the Masters University next year. Masters University made it all the way to the NAIA World Series before being eliminated about 3 games before the championship. As the Masters University is home to a few of your Chinooks, as Aaron Shackelford comes in tonight, and Aaron Stout you saw 2 innings ago pitch, and Preston White will be attending there next year. As Perkins throws the 1-0 pitch, misses up high for ball 2 again, 1 out here. In the top of the 7th, Mixon on second, White at first. And obviously you'd expect the pipeline to Masters as Chris Beck, the pitching coach, attended there years ago. Pitch from Perkins, missed on the outside again to make it a 3-0 count. With Jordan Wharton on deck, and we see earlier in this game, Wharton has the ability to stroke some as he ripped a double opposite field to right. Pitch from Perkins, 3-0 to Michi. And that ball's in the dirt, and that's going to load the bases for Wharton. And Wharton, like he did earlier in the game, in the 3rd inning to be exact, has the chance to put some damage on to Ryan Perkins, the Pilots pitcher. And no action going on in the Pilots bullpen, so the Pilots head coach looks to be content so far with Perkins. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Bases loaded for Jordan Wharton, the 3rd baseman. And Wharton takes a pitch high for ball 1. Wharton attends Indiana Wesleyan University. How'd I do with that name, Ryan?
Sounds a little bit better.
Sounds a little bit better. Not Wesleyan, not Wesleyan. It is Wesleyan. As it took me about 1,500 tries to figure that out, as Wharton strokes that in the left field, and that's going to be an RBI single as Mixon comes aboard, and he crossed the plate to make it an 11-5 game, and Jordan Wharton is putting himself together a relatively good campaign in today's game. That's going to be a double and a single so far from Wharton. As Alex Schmitz, the shortstop, comes to the plate. Bases loaded again. Preston White at 3rd. Brandon Michi at 2nd, and just on base now, Jordan Wharton. Alex Schmitz attends Oral Roberts University. Their season ended about 5 days ago by the hands of the Arkansas Razorbacks. And Perkins is going to be visited by his pitching coach here for the Pilots. And now there's some action going on in the Pilots bullpen. And the the pitching coach, has not taken the ball yet, so I'd assume this is just a little pump-up pitch and a chance to give that arm warming down in the bullpen a chance to get some more throws in, as we've seen a lot of times in the majors and in college, using that 1 mound visit per inning to give the bullpen some more time to warm up as Alex Schmitz comes to the plate here. On deck is the leadoff hitter, Micah Prees, as he's hoping to get up here with a chance to do some damage of his own. Perkins, the 1-out pitch. Gets a sign from Bess. Here it comes. And he puts that in for strike 1 to end that ball streak. That's about 4 balls in a row for Perkins. On 1 pitch now. Coming in from Perkins to Schmitz, the shortstop. Takes his sign from Bess. Here it comes. On the outside, high again for Perkins. To even up the count 1-1. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Chinooks already have 1 on the board, but they still need a few more to make this a more competitive game here, as it's 11-5. And Schmitz fouls that off in the Chinooks dugout. As that almost hits a few fans over there on the left side. As just like Ryan and I might need some catcher's gear, they might need that as well. And you see the tradition of the kids running after the baseball. It is Hunger Games here in the Alaska Baseball League for these foul balls.
Absolutely. They would do just about anything to grab some of those baseballs.
I believe it. After what I've seen. 2-2 pitch now. About to come after that ball on the outside. Schmitz hoping to just put the ball in play here. Give the Chinooks a chance to score. Schmitz pops that up. That is high, and the shortstop, Andre Gregory, calling everybody off, and he puts that away for the 2nd out of the inning. And the top of the order now for the Chinooks, Mike Capriz comes up to the plate. Bases loaded still for your Chinooks.
And it looks like on rare occasion, not many times you'll see this, but Mulcahy Stadiums is actually one of the only stadiums in the ABL to have field lights, and Priest is going to pop that one up to the second baseman, Malcolm Tipler, and he's going to haul that in for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Chinooks only doing about 1 run of damage here on 2 hits and no pilot errors. So some damage done, and the bats are starting to possibly come back to life. But as I was saying, some of the field lights are coming back on here at Mulcahy, which is not something you see every day. But we'll see. We'll come back to you guys after the break.
And we're back here in the bottom of the 7th. And Gregory, the shortstop, hits that to Schmitz, shortstop to shortstop. And that's going to be a quick out 1. Eddie Hyatt is back on. And Hyatt, after getting in some of a scare in the bottom of the 6th, was able to get out of the inning with no runs to his name, and he's hoping to do the same thing here. As Will Brennan, leadoff hitter from Kansas State for the Pilots, is up now. Hyatt composes himself, the 1-0 pitch, and there's a foul tip right to the backstop. One pitch now, 1 out, bottom of the 7th. 11-5 game for the Pilots. And that one's lifted foul in the left field. And the rush of the kids to the foul ball continues. I will have to admit, though, when I was that age, it was do or die for those foul balls.
Absolutely.
I took great pride in getting those foul balls. And I don't know if it was the same in Ohio for you, but if I got a foul ball, I could trade into the snack shack and get fruit snacks.
Absolutely. You can get some fruit snacks.
Fruit snacks, seeds,
Soda.
chips. If you were nice enough, maybe a hot dog or two.
Maybe, depending on how many you brought back.
It would take about 4 or 5 of those. As Brennan fouls that off. 2-2 count coming up now for Hyatt with the next pitch. And as Ryan was saying, as Brennan tips that to Mixon at first. Steps on the bag for out number 2. As Ryan was saying in the top half of this inning, it's a rare event here in the Alaska Baseball League as the sun really never sets until about 3 a.m. But the lights have now come on. At Mulcahy Stadium. Malcolm Tipler, the fast second baseman, up for the Pilots. He watches that one in for strike number 1 from Hyatt. And Hyatt looked a little shaken in the bottom of the 6th. I seems to have found his form and his groove in now in the bottom of the 7th. As I say that, he misses down low for ball 1. 1-1 count, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. Hyatt the pitch. And there's back-to-back. Misses on the outside for ball 2. 2-1 is the count. Tipler on to bat here. Swing and a miss by Tipler. And Hyatt was able to throw that slider past him. 2-2 count, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. 11-5. Here it comes. And that's hit to Mixon at first. Mixon feels that, bobbles it a little bit, but composes himself, and he steps on the bag right before Tipler. And the Chinooks, a relatively easy inning as it goes 1-2-3 for Eddie Hyatt. And when we come back, it's the top of the 8th, and Chinooks have 6 outs to put up 6 runs to keep this game going. When we come back, we have more Chinook baseball. And we're back here in the top of the 8th. Levi Gilcrease, the Baylor alum, as he approaches his senior year in this upcoming baseball season next year. Down 6 are the Chinooks. Pitch from Perkins. It's just over Gilcrease's head, and he got hit the last time, so he does not want to look to get hit again. And Ryan, if you're John Groth and the Chinooks coaching staff, what do you say to your players to keep them in? I mean, they're down 6 with 6 outs left. I mean, what are you saying what's your plan here to make this comeback, and how do you encourage them whatsoever as Gilcrease swings and misses for strike number 1?
I would definitely say that Coach Groth and Coach Beck are definitely probably going to be encouraging their guys to finish strong and don't ease up, even though the race might be getting tough here, and they're going to tell them to go full throttle until they get here.
Gilcrease is out to left. And I'm all the way to the warning track is Brennan. And Gilcrease just missed that one. Has had a chance to go all the way. But I would have to agree with you, Ryan. If you're the head coach, John Groth, you have to keep saying, keep grinding. As the one thing that makes baseball such a great sport is it really is timeless. Until the last out of the ninth inning reaches, or the last out in extra innings, this game will keep on going. And Karate hits that in the right center, and that's going to split the outfielders. And Karate's going to take a wide turn, but settle for just the single. And a first pitch single there for Karate. As Mixon comes to the plate now. Perkins looks in. Swing and a miss by Mixon. And we just reached the 9:30 mark. And with 6 outs to go, we're hoping to get this game in before an incoming storm, it looks like, or at least a good amount of rainfall is coming in. But with these lights, we should be able to at least play on with just a little bit of light rain if that so forth happens. And there's a strike 2 to Mixon.
Occasional rain shower in Alaska is definitely not something uncommon that we would see during a game. And for the most part here with the turf infield and middle infield, not requiring any field maintenance or tarps, the game could go on for a while unless it becomes like a torrential rain or something like that. But that hasn't happened here in Alaska, or at least in Anchorage, for a while. So we don't anticipate that, but I'm sure the players are hopefully not wanting that to happen, of course.
As Mixon pops that up to the first baseman. And that's going to make it 2 away now for the Chinooks. Karate on first as the DH, Justin Gomez, stands to the plate. And we'd have to assume if rain did even come, like Ryan was saying, with the infield turf, it really would not make a difference unless it started to pour, but that's not in the forecast so far. As Perkins is up high again for ball number 1. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, 11-5 lead for the Pilots. As that pitch on the outside. 2-0 now. Perkins looks in. Karate takes his lead at first. And Preston White's on deck. He had to come running back from the bullpen to get his batter's helmet and gloves on because there's a chance he might hit. And Chris Beck was with him in the bullpen. I'd have to assume he might be pitching in the bottom of the 8th here. But we'll see shortly. Well, we hope it would be long before we see the bottom of the 8th. We'll see. As Gomez is going to walk, and White made good use of that run as he's going to hit. As Karate goes from first to second, Gomez now stands at first. As Preston White, and as we saw earlier in the game, has the power to rip one, as he did earlier in the game to left. And he's looking to do the same, and that's going to be the end of it for Perkins. As Kevin Smallcomb, the head coach of the Anchorage Pilots, is going to pull the plug. And we're going to take a break now as the pitching change is for the Pilots. And when we come back, we're going to have a new pitcher for the Pilots. Your Chinooks, runners on first and second. 2 outs, down 11-5. Chris McCready and now to pitch for the Pilots. Number 2 to White, and that's going to be a first pitch swing and a third. Never mind, it's going to be called off for a foul ball. Chris McCready, a right-handed throwing 6'1" pitcher from University of San Diego, a native of Valencia, California. He also plays outfield with Preston White at the plate. 0-1 count. 11-5 here. With the runners at first and second, Alex Crotty at second, and the DH, Justin Gomez at first. 2 catchers on the diamond. Pitch to White. White swings and misses. That's off the catcher's glove, and both runners going to advance one base to put Crotty at third and Gomez at second. And now White has an RBI opportunity, but he has to first get through an 0-2 hole here. As McCready's going for the strikeout here. McCready looks in, gets the call from Bess. McCready, the pitch. As White is going to send that into right, and that's going to drop. And here comes Gomez. Crotty already scored, and Gomez is going to come in. And 2-run score for the Chinooks. 11-7 now. As Preston White does what he has to do with a 2 RBI single.
Just a little blooper out in the right center.
Just over the head of Malcolm Tipler at second. For a second, I thought Tipler might be able to have an impressive grab, but that landed in the perfect spot. Just a little bloop single that split the second baseman and right fielder and landed right in the middle.
And Anderson, the right fielder, just couldn't get the throw in time either. So 2 runs for the Chinooks. Good heads-up base running.
And John Groth has every reason to be aggressive again. Down 6, now down by 4. And if the Chinooks can maybe tap in 1 or 2 more runs, that gives them a good chance to make a comeback in the top of the 9th as White looked like he was going to steal, but held up on about a 1/4 of the way. Mitchie compose himself a 2-0 count now as Mitchie looks to get things back on track hitting-wise. White takes lead at first. McCready the pitch as Mitchie's going to stroke that, and that's going to be Tipler at second, and that's going to be a save as Mitchie heads-up play slides in safely to keep this inning alive, and that's what we've been waiting for, is for the energy to come right back up, and maybe that's the spark that puts the Chinooks back on the right track. As Mitchie hit that right to where the first baseman can get it. Tipler had to travel a little ways where he was on the first base side of things. And as he tried to throw back in, could not get in time as Mitchie with the heads-up slide into first to keep us alive for Jordan Wharton now from Indiana Wesleyan University as he first pitch swing and fouls that off the right side. We've seen on 2 occasions Wharton had a double and a single to score runs for the Chinooks, and he's hoping to keep this alive. Tack on a run or 2 here to make this an even closer game. Right now it's 11-7, Pilots in the lead with 2 outs in the top of the 8th. 0-1 pitch. And Wharton, the same exact foul ball it seemed like, as he's just missing on McCready. Oh, 2 hole here for Wharton as McCready steps off the plate. Gets the call from Best now. Wharton. White on second. Mitchie at first. Wharton, 0-2 pitch. Facing McCready. Here it comes. And that ball's in the dirt. Best able to keep that in front of him to keep White and Mitchie at their respective bases. 1-2 pitch about to come up from McCready. 2 outs. Top of the 8th. As with the gray skies, even more of an impact. The Mulkey Stadium lights coming in more of a handy now than ever. Pitch from McCready. And that's going to be off as for ball 2. Went off the catcher's glove. Traveled a little bit to the left. And White, both White and Mitchie thought about stealing, but held up otherwise. as Alex Schmidt stands in on deck. And the 9-hole, hoping to get his crack tonight in the top of the 8th. Wharton, the 2-2 pitch. And McCready's going to ring him up looking as he paints the corners there to end the inning. Not before. The Chinooks tack on 2 to make it an 11-7 game. When we come back, it's going to be the bottom of the 8th as your Chinooks try to keep it a 4-run game. Bottom of the 8th now, folks, as new pitcher for your Chugiak Chinooks, Preston White, is on to pitch. If you're saying, well, why does that name sound familiar? That's because you just saw him bat as he started this game in left field, and he's going to now be pitching for your Chinooks. Taking over in left field is pitcher turned left fielder so far, Tyler Yoshihara. We've seen him play the field in the 7-hole on the field a few times. He's from Bonoma Pitcher College. You saw him pitch actually yesterday. So if I'm assuming Yoshihara probably does not want to get that many balls over there to have to throw back. It's a foul ball in the left. Preston White stands at 6'5", a dominating presence. And if there's one thing the Chinooks might have over the other teams, it's a dominating-looking pitching staff with a 6'7" Scott Smith, a 6'5" Preston White, and another 6'5" Mike Batten, who was the starter of this game. The Chinooks hoping to come back to avoid an 0-3 hole to start the season 0-3 as they've started out 0-2. And the Pilots, if they're looking to hold on and when they come back in the top of the ninth to put their record at 2-2 as they stand currently 1 win, 2 losses. As they were able to win last night. Pitch from White, and White is going to field that tap by Thompson. He throws that over to Gomez. End of the game also, coming from the DH spot is Justin Gomez, taking over for Hayden Mixon at first. As Gomez gets his first fielding tries out there at first for the 2017 ABL season. That's going to do it for Hayden Mixon tonight. Ian Evans, the DH tonight for these Pilots, coming up with 1 out. 11-7 game here, pitched by White, and that's right down the pipe for strike 1. And Ryan, if there's one thing so far that White's shown is he is very composed and he hits his targets.
Definitely. He is almost like a sniper up there, hitting his targets. Throwing
There's
hard.
another one.
Just there on the outside corner for strike 2. He's in a rhythm right now, and definitely is a beautiful thing when a pitcher can get into a rhythm.
0-2 pitch, and just fouled off by Evans. I was talking to Wyatt on the bus ride over here. He sits about 93, 95. But from up here, Ryan, I don't know about you, but that looks a little bit faster.
Yeah, it sure does.
But then again, for me, anything over 60, I have to put a helmet on and crouch in fear. It just misses down low to make it a 1-2 count. White. Right now in the Chinooks, we only have 2 current outfielders. As Jeremy Johnson from Auburn University is going to come in. As Evans fouls that. So right now, Preston White will probably be doing this a lot more often in the upcoming games before the Auburn outfielder can come here. Pitch from White. That's ripped to Gomez, and that's going to miss, and that's going to be down into right field as Gilcrease cuts that off, and Gilcrease is able to get there just in time to keep Evans just at first, and Gomez, he dove for that one, but that was just about 3 or 4 inches. As Gomez stands at 5'11", compared to his counterpart that he just came in for, Hayden Mixon, who stands at 6'4". Those few inches came into play there. Up now is the catcher with the name of Cuba Bess from GCU, located in Phoenix, Arizona. He's going to tap that out as Crotty fields that. Can't throw it second, but he'll take the easy out at 1 to make it 2 outs now in the bottom of the 8th. Evans advanced from first to second on that little scribbler of an at-bat by Bess. And now here comes Austin Chauvin, the St. Mary's third baseman from San Ramon, California. White hoping to get out of this inning with no runs surrendered to his name. And he would like to keep it an 11-7 deficit for the Chinooks. Pitch from White. Puts that in there for ball. Strike 1. Was able to get that one in. A 1 pitch. Coming in now from White. 2 outs. Bottom of the 8th. This is high to even up the count 1-1. One count for Preston White. To Chauvin. Steps off. Steps right back on. Evans on second, takes his lead. White stares in, 1-1 count. Swing. And over to the first base umpire, and he's going to say he went. Strike number 2. And it looked like that from my view up here. 1-2 count now for the third baseman, Chauvin. And White looking to get out of this with just a single to his name so far. White looks at Crotty and throws back. Just keeps it this time. Nobody was at second, so good thing by him for not throwing actually. White looks into Crotty, gets a sign. 1-2 count. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th. White the pitch, and he plunks Chauvin, and I doubt that feels very good, and that's probably a stinger.
That one will definitely leave a mark in the morning.
And I don't know what's worse, that or the mosquito bites he probably has.
I would definitely go with the baseball on that one.
I'm going to go with the mosquito bites if they're anything like the ones I have. Number 14, Carter Benza from Fresno State, the first baseman. As with that hit by pitch by White, he's going to put 2 runners more for the Pilots.
Just to those of you listening, the mosquitoes in Alaska, they can get pretty big after eating off of some of the moose up here. I've seen some of them grow up to the size of a hand, and they're considered one of the natives here will oftentimes call them the state bird, as they can get pretty big at times.
Size of a hand. That sounds something out of a R.L. Stine horror book. As Evans was able to steal third there. Karate couldn't get any throw going. Last night after the home opener, several of the teammates were getting attacked by the mosquitoes while we were eating. And there's a dribble to Wharton. Wharton throws to Gomez at first, and Gomez has to step off the plate as that was an errant throw by Wharton. And a run comes in, and that's going to be safe for Benz, and we're going to keep going here in the bottom of the 8th. Wharton did everything right except that throw, as Gomez had nothing else to do except have to step off the bag to be able to catch it. As Chauvin now at second. Benz at first as Evans came in to score from third on that play. 2 outs here. 12-7 the score. Just missed on the inside for ball number 1. Chandler Anderson, the right fielder, up from Park City, Utah. Pitch from White. Goes right back to second. He's keeping Chauvin honest over there. 1-0 count now with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. 1 run so far for the Pilots, and if the Pilots have anything to say about it, they're hoping to make that at least 2 or more. And just get some wood on that is Anderson. To get a 1-1 count. It's interesting to think there's only been 3 games played as these players for the Pilots look to be seasoned in their team chemistry and all that. 1-1 pitch. And that's up the middle. Schmitz is going to get there. And he's going to step on second as he gets there right in front of Benz at the in the inning. Not before run scored by the Pilots on 2 hits. When we come back, it's going to be the last out chance for the Chinooks as they're down 12-7. When we come back, Chinook baseball. It's Rally Hat time, folks. We come back down 12-7. And I hope in between innings you took those hats off and folded them inside out. As we have a 5-run deficit to make up here in the top of the 9th. Alex Schmitz is going to take the first crack at it to start things off for your Chinooks. Facing off against McCready. Misses down 1, and that's going to get to the backstop. It's been a relatively good game for both teams, except for a few innings that the Chinooks pitching just could not get on top of it. It's been a well-sound game so far as McCready misses up high. Almost hit Schmitz a little bit for a 2-0 count now. And I would say for the most part, the Chinooks, this has been their best game of the year. Now, obviously, they're down 12-7, but in terms of hitting, like Ryan and I talked about for most of the first couple innings, we were wanting these bats to be woken up, and they finally did. And we're hoping that can translate into wins in the next few games.
For sure. I think one of the next strategies is going to be trying to keep the errors down that are costing us runs. And just some of the simple things that are causing base runners to move, and those easy base hits that we're getting, or the other teams are getting to score against us. That'll give us a little bit of a chance at buffer zone if we're not giving them free bases, essentially.
And even without the errors, the team's just, I don't know if you've seen this in the past, but so many infield singles.
Yeah, quite a few infield singles.
And there's been a lot of fast guys coming from the Matsu Miners and now the Pilots. But like Ryan, what you were saying, sadly, the errors have been more than what we would have liked here. Obviously, no errors is what we want, but we can understand a couple or even 3 or 4. But with a 3 tonight, that's going to take the total to 8 through 3 games. And Schmitz got walked. For the leadoff runner, as Micah Prees, the leadoff hitter, stands in, hoping to keep this 9th inning rally afloat, with Levi Gilcrease standing on deck. Prees went 2 for 4 last night against the Miners, 2 of the 3 hits for the Chinooks. As Prees sends that into center. And here's a good start for the Chinooks. As even though we're down 5, any base runner counts. No out still, as Levi Gilcrease comes to the plate. With runners on first and second, nobody out. And really, what could happen here is, we need a single and then one more runner on, and all it takes is one swing of the bat to tie this thing up. That's simple, right?
Exactly. It's just one swing of the bat, and that whole ball game can change.
Just as simple as swinging a bat. But ultimately, for me, I don't have to go up against a 90-mile-per-hour fastball when I swing a bat. I go up against whoever's pitching on the TV. 1-0 count here for McCready against Gilcrease. Gilcrease fouls that over the stadium here. And Gilcrease has been making good contact these games, but hasn't been able to translate that onto hits. As his last at bat, he was able to get one all the way to the warning track before dying down out there. As he stands in 1-1 now. And he takes that on the inside as Gilcrease was also hit about that. Was also hit in the 6th inning. 2-1 count now for McCready against the Baylor Bear. And he's not hit, but the runners able to advance to second and third. And now I don't have the vision to see down there on the backstop, but Schmitz was asking if he could go home. And the ump said no, so I assumed the ball got stuck or something. It looked like Gilcrease got hit, but he was able to evade that. And now there's sprinklers on the field.
Looks like the timing system's popped, and Coach John Groth is also having conversation with the home plate umpire just to reevaluate what's going on with the.
Well, if I'm John Groth, I'm saying, you know what? Sprinklers came on this game. Got to just restart it. This is messing up the whole mojo. Let's just restart. We'll do it tomorrow.
Or it's a sign. Let's keep playing. The rally sprinklers are on.
Let's keep playing. Well, it is 10 o'clock here in Anchorage, Alaska, so that seems about the time. This was a 7:10 start. The past 2 games have been about 2.5 hours. It's been about almost a 3-hour game.
This is definitely quite comical now. As
the umps have no idea what to do here, too.
Everybody's kind of just standing around on the field wondering what to do with themselves. And the umps are starting to gather. Maybe there's a ruling somewhere if the sprinklers turn on, they give some free points to the visiting team. I mean, that'd be pretty nice. But
I think that's an automatic grand slam.
A grand slam, obviously.
Automatic grand slam. I'll write it up right now. I'll call the commissioner. 12-7 is the score here as we take a little break here, thanks to the sprinklers.
Just
between the lights, the mosquitoes being hand sizes, sucking blood from mooses. And now this might be the final straw of what has been an eventful game, at least for us in the broadcast booth.
Oh, the experiences you have in the Alaska Baseball League.
And as Chris Beck would say in our disciple chime, this is an OIA, only in Alaska, moment. And this is something to really bring here.
And the sprinklers are still on. I guess they're trying to figure out where the water shutoff is, or they're going to have to tell them these don't turn off for a while. But it's definitely going to create some interesting playing conditions if anybody has to go for a play out there in the shallow outfield / midfield, where it's going to be a little slick now that it's now wet thanks to the sprinklers.
Now, if you're the players out there, I mean, obviously this is about a 3-4 minute break. And right as it was, I mean, it's a 3-1 count, no outs, runners on second and third. Things are trying to, momentum was swinging in the Chinooks' favor. Does this break, favor the Pilots more than it does the Chinooks, able to allow the fielders to kind of, hey, we're still up 5 here.
It's definitely going to be a battle of wits here just to see who mentally is still focused at the end of this break whenever the sprinklers do decide to turn off. We're going to have to see whether, the Chinooks are able to cope with, they were in a little bit of a rhythm now, and can they remain in that rhythm after they're done? Or is it going to be that afterwards the Pilots are going to be able to remain mentally tough and zero in on their defense and prevent the Chinooks from scoring anything? But we'll have to see in a few minutes.
Battle of wits is what we're going to see here, as Ryan said. And if you're the Chinooks, you just have to stay focused. As what we're seeing is an eventful thing, but you can't make jokes about it. You just got to remember what's going on, as there's still a game to be played, and there's still a game to be won, more importantly. As we have Runaround Sue playing in the ballpark by Dion and the Belmonts. Ryan, do you know that music?
Absolutely. Good music.
Absolutely. I'm a Frank Sinatra guy myself. I don't know about you.
Frank Sinatra's pretty good.
Pretty good. Well, you can leave the booth right now if that's all you're going to give. All blue eyes.
He's pretty fantastic.
Pretty fantastic. What's your music style here? And you can tell we're out of ideas here. The Chinooks gone, sprinklers on, and now we're talking about music artists. It's been a long night here for us. But what is your favorite music artist?
Oh, I listen to just about anything. I really enjoy country music, and I enjoy some cinematic stuff, and I'll listen to that when I get ready for races or something like that. And I also listen to a good deal of old 80s rock, so AC/DC,
Old 80s rock,
Guns N' Roses. I would definitely say my music taste is eclectic.
I would say the same for mine. It definitely, I mean, on my playlist, I could go from Frank Sinatra, obviously, then some Eminem. For the older folks, that is not the Candy, I promise. That is the name of an artist. And then he could swing to some Hillsong or some Bethel for some worship music.
Absolutely.
But here we are on the top of the ninth. The sprinklers still going strong. It's been about 5 minutes now. As sprinklers are set for a 10 o'clock timer, and the umps they're enjoying the game as well and figuring out what's going on. The outfielders are all down on a knee. The infielders have all formed a group now. The Chinooks bullpen, actually a good amount of them just came in between that. There's still a few out there.
I can't imagine if soon we have a few players decide to run through the sprinklers, as it is 10 o'clock at night, everybody's ready to go, and they might as well have a spot of fun while they're still on, right?
Well, also maybe a little bit of wake up.
Maybe.
Get out there for the warmest thing.
Especially for a couple of those guys just getting off the jet lag.
Huh. Well, this is now going on for 6 minutes, and I just have to assume. I don't know why it's taking this long to find out this. So I mean, I'm no technician or no whatever you want to call it in terms of being a master of sprinklers, but I would assume it's not a complicated process to turn sprinklers off.
Not really. I mean, there's usually just a shutoff pump somewhere around the stadium, and all it takes is one little throw, and the water will turn off. But
And now coming from the left side, I would assume it's the stadium manager.
Stadium manager or general manager here. Mike Hinshaw is coming in, probably talk to the umpires about what's going on and how long those sprinklers are going to be on for, because who knows, maybe they're on for
Yeah, if that's a timer, maybe there is no automatic shut-off.
possibly.
And if that's the case, now Ryan, I've only been here for 3 games. Would they make up this? Would they make up this inning, or would they call it with a 12-7 lead for the Oilers? I mean, for the Pilots.
Well, I definitely think they'll wait it out until they turn off. I don't think they would call the game just because the sprinklers are on.
And now
But
Chris
it looks
Beck
like they're
comes
calling out coaches to see what's going on.
Here comes John Groth and Chris Beck. And coming out for the Pilots is head coach. And actually, the field manager, it says on the Oilers roster, is Kevin Smallcombe. And we're hearing from the room next to us, from the PA announcer, this has happened before. And I would assume it would in this history of the Anchorage Bucks and Pilots here. But since it's happened before, I would assume there's a process here. If I am John Groth and Chris Beck, I am pushing for my idea of an automatic grand slam. But you keep the base runners as is. You just add 4 runs. But that's just me. That's why I'm the broadcaster. I'm biased. That's my job.
And it looks like there seems to be a little bit of discussion going on with Chris Beck and the Pilots general manager of what's going on with the sprinklers and some other idiosyncrasies going on tonight.
12-7 here in the top of the 9th. Still no outs. There's runners on second and third with Gilcrease in a 3-1 pitch. Excuse me, a 3-1 count. This game was still very much a chance to be alive here. Ryan, what's the latest game you've seen here in Alaska?
We had a home game that went into 14 innings, and I wasn't in bed till about 2:30 a.m. Alaska time.
Shoot.
So it was a very, very late night.
Is now the PA announcer trying to get the general manager Mike Henshaw's attention, but he's busy on the field talking to Chris Beck. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of out of material here talking about a sprinkler system gone rogue. There's a Pilots player coming out there to tell Mike Henshaw to check his phone, and he checks it. And if you're wondering why there's even sprinklers here for a turf field, it's because the outfield is grass. It's hard to tell in the broadcast. But the sprinklers are not coming onto the turf. They are just going out to the outfield as the Pilots and the Bucks, as they share a stadium. And they're calling the whole infield and outfield in. They're calling everybody. As the umps have gone off the field, well, I have put up the P and I am protesting. I want to keep playing some baseball.
Definitely. There's got to be something going on. It appears as if they've called the game. But how could you do that? It's the sprinklers. Turn off the sprinklers.
And this is getting to a point where if you're the Oilers, excuse me, if you're the Chinooks, you have the rightful Mason mind to say, no. We have runners on second and third. Nobody out. Down by 5. I want to play this game.
Or at least let us hit.
I mean, we'll play with the sprinklers on. But if they call this game, I think that's outrageous.
Well, definitely. The P for protest is definitely going to be going up if that's the case.
And the Chinooks
Knowing
bullpen
Coach
guys
John
are
Groth
coming
and
in.
Chris Beck. They will not stand for that.
And this is going to be
Well, looks like it's going to be it. The umpires have walked off.
Now, we're not going to go anywhere, folks, before we get down 110% of what's going on, as we do have the opportunity and the privilege to be right next to the PA box to where we hear the official updates. We will not be going anywhere. We will stick by you guys and keep you guys updated. But right now, you cannot see it. I will move the camera to the Chinooks side. If you see on the side here, I mean, the bullpen guys are coming in. It's hard to tell from this angle, but people's bags are getting packed. And then in the Oilers side, same thing. It's hard to tell from that angle. But we'll keep things right here, as we don't want to stare at an empty ballpark. Now, then again, this isn't a totally ridiculous thing, but I think I take that back. I think it's frankly ridiculous to call this game for a sprinkler system. If there's a bear on the field, get everybody off the field.
Exactly. It's the sprinklers. Sometimes I question baseball's the toughness of the baseball's adaptability to weather conditions, and the sprinklers being one of them. I understand they come out of the ground a little bit, but even rain, it's just water. It won't hurt you. The bear might, but water, no. And we still have yet to answer the question for you all, listeners, whether or not we're still going to play. We have no clue. We're right here with you.
I think the first line of the song they play is "Hold On," and that's exactly what we're going to do.
I think many of the fans here at Mulcahy Stadium are wondering the exact same thing. Are we going to play this baseball game all the way through, or are we going to call it right here and have a protested game here? But that'll definitely be something to answer in the next couple of minutes.
And the Chinooks have seemed to come out of the dugout. And this is, now again, this is all for fun. Well, I shouldn't say that. We definitely don't want to create anything. But I'm going to step away for a second as Ryan's going to take over and see if I can get to the bottom of this.
And as of now, I mean, the Chinooks are headed off the field, as you guys can see. But it'll definitely be just a little bit of a waiting game to officially see what happens and what the official ruling is. But I guess for the most part, we're looking at a potential Pilots victory by default because of the amount of runs scored and the fact that we're by the 5th inning. All right.
And we have come down. Excuse me for leaving. I was able to get to the bottom. This game is not called. It's just called for tonight. We play the I keep saying the Oilers. We play the Pilots on Monday, and we will finish this game on Monday. I do not have the time or anything of that sort, but I can tell you after talking to some of the players on the field, we will be playing the rest of this game, which exactly is, it is Levi Gilcrease at the plate, Mike Capriz at second, and Alex Schmitz at third. It's a 3-1 count, 12-7's the score, and again, Levi Gilcrease is a bat. And, well, this is a interesting thing, Vince. If you give us a break, we'll have a sort of a post game for you to kind of explain this. We'll be back in a minute or two. All right, folks. So, Ryan, in your 18 years, I don't think you've ever seen this, right?
No, this is a first.
This is and I'm gonna have to look up the Chinooks schedule really fast. I would assume it's a 7 o'clock start. But yeah, this game has been not called. I would say it's a rain delay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rain
sorts.
delay.
But as I was saying, I was able to talk to a few of the players out there. This game has essentially been rain delayed, but it will be made up, or essentially we'll continue this game on Monday when we play the Oilers, I believe, at 7 o'clock here as well.
Right. It'll just be made up against the Pilots.
And so pretty much I would assume this, this is all guessing and all estimation. I would assume it would be probably a 3 o'clock start, 2 o'clock start.
It potentially could be. I would assume it's probably going to be a day game-ish like that, and they'll finish it real quick and then just start playing the next one after a couple of minutes.
So you think there'd be no break? They just finish this game and then go right in?
There might be like a 10-minute break or something like that, just to get the new starting pitcher.
Well, I would have to assume. Oh, how do you close it out? This is the fun-filled atmosphere. I'll be right there. As everything's going crazy.
Nobody knows what to do.
So, you know what? I think Luke 18:27, what is impossible with man is possible with the Lord. Somewhere, God knows exactly how this is going to finish, exactly what's going on. So just one last time, this game just delayed. It is the top of the ninth. It is 12-7 in favor of the Pilots. Mike Capri's at second. Alex Schmidt's at third. So that's runners at second and third. Levi Gilcrease, the Baylor right fielder, the 2-hole hitter, is hitting with a 3-1 count against Chris McCready. And we'll probably, as Ryan assumes, and that makes sense, so we're probably looking at a 6:30 start time, but we will keep you posted on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll do a live stream of that game. We'll finish this game. We'll stop this broadcast. But Ryan, any last words on what has been a crazy game?
I have never seen a game get postponed simply because of the sprinklers. So that's a first. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all ends on Monday in the future when we come back. And who knows, maybe we'll come back on Monday and we'll take it to these guys. And
we come back.
We'll finish it and say, you know what, we don't deal with sprinkler problems like this, and we're going to take it to you. So hopefully that's the case, but we'll definitely have to see.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight, as so far this game has been 12-7, but we'll be back on Monday for at least the rest of this game, and we will be back on Monday no matter what. Catch us tomorrow, a 7 p.m. game against the Anchorage Bucks, as we will start that game tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We would love for you to join us same time tomorrow. But have a great night, and God bless. Ryan, anything else?
Nothing else. We're looking forward to announcing tomorrow, and hope you guys will stay tuned for then. So
fish on, and God bless. Have a good night, folks.